Hello, everyone. Let's do a sound check and make sure you can hear me. All right, and we're looking like we're good, so I want to welcome everyone in tonight. This is the Prof Show over at the Prof on YouTube or the Prof True Crime. For those of you on the backup channel, the Prof True Crime, I have turned off the live chats there, so you got to come on over to the main channel if you'd like to join us. And I would encourage you to please do come on and join. Tonight, we're going to do a show that I'm calling Meet the Community Open Lines. And I'm going to be leaning on you tonight because I would like you to start a conversation with me, and I'll talk about that in a moment. But as you come in, please say hello to the chat. Everyone join the chat, lurkers as well. You're welcome. And you'll see pinned at the top of the chat, I have a link tree with all of my links for the various things you might want to see. Okay, so I have a Substack where I do some writing and all kind of other things over at the link tree at the top of the chat. And so please do check that out if you're interested in me. And especially if you're new here, we'd like to hear from you, especially in the comment section if you're on the replay. So go ahead and join this conversation. There's a lot I want to talk about. And needless to say, wow, you never know where to start. But welcome in, and I'm glad to see you all. This is a Tuesday night, September 16th, as we're recording this. I'm glad to see everyone. I intend on doing some news tomorrow. So for those of you who catch me tomorrow, you'll see me catching some news, and I'd like to invite you over to that as well. But for those of you new here, we've got a large community. If you look down on in the chat, you'll see lots of wrenches. Those are our longtime viewers, and it's a large community, upwards of 8,000 people. We're glad to see everyone, and hopefully we'll continue to grow. So I thought, in light of recent circumstances, both in Delphi and the world in general, that I would like to see more participation directly on this channel from community members. Now, here's where it gets a little uncomfortable because I know many of you relish in your privacy in the chats behind fake accounts and all of that, and that's one thing. But I really like to ask you all to consider and think about for a moment the fact that so many of you who have been here for a long time have never spoken publicly here. And I think it's really necessary that you guys begin more and more to voice your opinions here, okay? Because, you know, sometimes I feel quite alone in that I sit here week after week, day after day, live after live, doing content, discussing with you, and very seldom do people join me here. The few who have joined over the years, oddly enough, are often creators who have their own channels. And I'd like to start to open up the conversation away from that. Those with channels talk all the time. You know, they voice their opinions all the time. They regularly go on each other's channels voicing opinions all the time. And I think this is a good time to extend an invitation to all of you to take a step further and join us here. This should be a public platform. In a way, that's what these things are. You know, they are public conversations. And like I said, we all need to step out of our comfort zones a little, make ourselves vulnerable a little, and express our humanity through the use of our voice. So that's the point of tonight's show. I'm hoping that some of you who we've never talked to before will click the link in a moment when I put it up, and that we get to hear from more and more of you, whether you agree with me or not. Okay. If you want to challenge me, that's fine as well. Um, now, this is a it's not always the easiest conversation. So I've been in conversations with many people the past few weeks. Um, Not to give a teaser, but I know it often feels like it. But there are things, big things, that are in the works that have not come together yet. Because sometimes these things take time, and these conversations that are happening behind the scenes take time. Okay, so I guess the teaser being that we often, or I often, say that I have big things in the works, and it's true because there are conversations happening behind the scenes, but these things take a lot of discussion and also a lot of preparation to have someone on to present to you new things, big things, and um, and so that is still in the works. Uh, Even though you haven't seen it or heard it yet, and I don't like really revealing my hand until we're good to go, so that no one else, no bad actors are able to sabotage it. So that's why we've kind of been in this holding pattern. But with all that being considered, and with the recent conversations I've been having, some important things have come up. So I thought that one of the things I can kick us off with is discussing this situation, or this the context in general. Okay, um, so how would I say this? So it's no secret, okay, that I have become one of the most hated people in the Delphi murders conversation, and it's just absolutely mind-boggling if you think about it. And so tonight, before I go ahead and open up the floor, I wanted to kind of talk about that because there are things, you know, um, and that is that in these past 6 months, a large portion of my community has left this group, and it's absolutely saddening and heartbreaking. And there's lots of reasons for it, but as I look at it, the interesting thing is that there are people, or were people, who had been here with me for more than 2, maybe even 3 years. Okay, maybe 2 to 3 years. And in these past 6 months, some of those people who had been with me for 3 years have gone ahead and just dropped on off. Okay, and there are other places. And I've been reflecting on that and discussing it with some people. And it's very interesting because it's no secret. Okay, it's no secret what has transpired in the past 6 months. There's been a lot. Okay. And as I've been reflecting on this, I found it was interesting because, well, you guys may not understand, those who've left, I'm speaking to, those who have left here. Uh, I would expect you to leave if you had discovered that I have lied to you, if you had discovered that I had been abusive and negligent and provided disinformation, misinformation, bad information, lies, mischaracterizations, all of that. And I think it's absolutely mind-boggling because for those of you who have been here, especially since March, as I ask you to reflect back, you may. I felt that I should probably hmm, maybe reiterate some things, okay? Because I think some things like I don't. No one wants to start up more unnecessary chaos, okay? But I think some things have to be said. Um, as you guys look back into the past 6 months, particularly to March 12th and beyond. Okay, March 12th, the latter half of March, all of April, all of May, um, all of June. Okay, I'd like you to think about something. And this is very important. Okay, so in March, I began speaking out about a group that has presented themselves as pro defense or advocates for Richard Allen and the Delphi murders. And the thing that I brought to light that there's been very little thanks for is that this group, both in March and for years prior, had been behind a lot of questionable activity. Okay. Doing things in a way that is less than transparent, less than honest, less than good, and overall had created a bunch of discord in the community. So I decided in March when this bridge guy video, and by that I mean the video from Liberty's phone, when that video had been released, uh, with a lot of question marks surrounding it. Okay. Well, the first thing I did was I went to the individuals I knew were responsible for releasing it in all ways. And first, I gave them the opportunity to take hold of the situation, um, present to the community their ties to this incident, and then take charge of the way that this would be handled. And unfortunately, they refused to do that, and instead um, treated me like I was a little crazy. Okay, and I wasn't. I knew exactly what I was talking about, and they knew exactly that I knew exactly what I was talking about. But it's just absolutely mind-boggling because despite my honorable intentions of allowing them to take hold of the situation, they double, triple, quadruple down on the denial and on the immediate smear campaign and all of that stuff. Just absolute chaos. And then, as all of you will know, this post-conviction investigation retainer agreement contract with Kathy Allen then immediately came on the heels of the Bridge Guy video release. So it was sort of a snowball effect in that these things happened in short succession. And and I decided that the best I could do is reveal to the public, that's you all, okay, all that was going on and all of the things that were happening behind the scenes, the relationships, the conflicts, the all the various emotions, the manipulation, all the things that I knew were happening. I decided to just come and loudly declare what was happening so that none of you or as few as possible would remain confused. And so that was March. And as I mentioned, then for the next 6 months, absolute chaos. Okay. And that began the falling away of so many of our viewers here. And as I've been thinking about that in these past few days, I thought, wow, here's the interesting thing. I told the truth. I gave to the community overall, not just on YouTube, but the entire community of people following the Delphi murders. I gave to the community the truth, the facts, the absolute truth with no lies. And I just find it incredibly ironic that with the truth and transparency and no lies came a whole bunch of people putting their hands over their eyes, their hands over their ears, and running away in anger because the truth was too difficult for many to accept. And hey, that's the way things are in Delphi, and it's also the way things are in the world. And that's why I said to you Friday, I believe, that I was going to be going into more world events, news, and politics in the near future. Because I think that the problems we are encountering is that too many people choose to treat information in the world as consumers rather than observers. So, just like any consumer, if I go to a restaurant, I purchase what I want to eat. I go to the store, I buy what I want to buy. And and I watch movies, I watch what I want to watch. And unfortunately, I think that that's the crux of the matter here in Delphi is that too many viewers who should be observers and people exercising perception to take in information that is truthful and based in reality, too many treat this entire thing like consumers and they have selective hearing. Okay. So there are certain things they want to hear. And so because on the truth was unfortunately uh, what they did not want to hear, the fact that I continuously shoveled it out became a problem. And it really is sad. And I'm hoping that many of the people who experienced this cognitive dissonance at first and could not take in what was being given in honesty, hopefully those people will, in time, see that I was not wrong and possibly allow themselves to admit they were wrong and come on back. And that's what I really do hope because you guys may not realize it, but it's literally half of this community. Half of my community has fallen away, and it's absolutely tragedy or travesty. I mean, this is it's been a grind, right? So in thinking of that, I continuously asked myself this week, where were the lies? Where were the lies? Because people wanting the truth, which should drive them away, are lies. Optimally, which should drive you away from any particular information source, should be lies. And there have been plenty of lies. Let me say to you, this entire Delphi community is nothing but lies. Okay? When I've said that there are so many plants in this community, it's not a joke. I'm not saying it lightheartedly. I'm not assuming. There are so many plants in this community. Okay, people who are here in bad faith with ill intentions. And it just is the way that it is. And so here you have a community that is absolutely saturated with plants. And then you have a community in which there are many innocents who are duped by the plants and also behaving more as consumers and less than observers. And so they have selective hearing and they want things to be true the way that they want them to be true rather than just allowing themselves to take in what is true and what is not. So it's been absolutely a challenge to try to get through this. You know, it's like when we're on the in the kayaks on the river going through the rapids, and when we hit the rapids, things get out of control. You know, you're trying to maintain some sort of control over the situation that is very difficult to control. It's not smooth sailings, it's rough waters. And that's what we've been through for this past 6 months. And it just continues. It absolutely does continue. For instance, speaking of this Bridge Guy video from Liberty's phone, you guys really have to understand the people who put this video across, okay? And what you also have to do is try to do an A-B comparison to what Judge Gull and the court has put across. And what you're going to find is Judge Gull and the court has put across nothing. So you're absolutely dependent upon this group that has produced this video alleging it to be the real deal. Now, it's funny because we absolutely know that it was encoded in March 2025, immediately before its release, which is a difficult situation. But you would expect that the real information should come from the court, and it hasn't. And you really got to wonder what that's all about. And furthermore, the contract that I discussed, that contract was real. That contract was the subject of a lot of back and forth and consternation for quite a while. And it ended up not being adopted or embraced by Kathy Allen. And that should be no mystery to you now. And then there were so many things. And even most recently, I brought up the issue of money. Okay, money. I said, what is it with all of these people continuously doing fundraisers? Where's all the money from all the fundraisers? And I asked those questions because I had several major donors, and I mean donors of anywhere from $1,000 to $3,000 each, call me and email me and say, Prof, I'm concerned about the money. And it's absolutely crazy because recently that has resurfaced. And like I said, I'm not trying to bring up any difficulties or drama, but All Eyes on Delphi has battled me on that. Okay. Now, here's the thing. Trying to put across that Andy Baldwin's office used that fundraiser money that was at the $40,000 mark in its entirety and that no more remains is an absolute falsehood. I have it directly from the source that only a few $1,000s were used out of that money. Yeah, you heard it. Do I have to spit out a spreadsheet that looks all fancy to prove that to you? No, because I got it directly from the source. So that money still exists, minus a few $1,000s, and it is to be used for Rick Allen's next trial. But why the fight over that? And I also brought up the fact that Teresa raised money in the amount of $5,000 for transcripts off of the backs of this community. And that money, where is it? Because that particular amount of money was not used for transcripts. Those transcripts were given for free. Okay? Well, knowing that Mrs. Kathy Allen does not encourage, approve, or endorse any sort of fundraising in Rick Allen's name, what's the deal here? And then most recently, we come to Skip Jansen's information regarding Shelby Hicks and Daniel Pearson. And for some odd reason, in the past month, this group of people have marched out an individual from Delphi to debunk, derail, and disinform around the information surrounding Daniel Pearson and Shelby Hicks. So the more you look at this, the more you will see that in a revolving cycle, there's a repeated tendency for this group, who you should be able to trust, to pull questionable moves in this case. Like I said, why try to debunk and derail Skip Jansen if he's wrong? I mean, if he's right, I mean, he's not wrong. Skip has receipts for everything. Like I said, regarding the money and the fundraiser from Andy Baldwin and David Hennessy, I have the receipts. Okay. Regarding the contract and all the kerfuffle surrounding Kathy Allen, I have the receipts and direct sources. Revolving the video from Liberty German's phone, I have the receipts and the actual information. There's not been a single lie. And that should be treasured and valued in this community. And this is what I'm saying to you all about the fact that I think more people need to express themselves and make themselves publicly available, because your voices will not be heard in the live chats or in the comment sections in the way that they would be heard here on these platforms. There's a different effect when there's humanity added, the human touch. Now, as these 6 months have gone by, I look back into all of the content I've created, and we have covered so much. Okay, we have covered so much. And it's just absolutely hilarious because as I cover things, there's always the spies who lurk. And what they do, when we hit the nail on the head and we hit upon something valuable, they run back into the chaos agents and stir up the hornet's nest of chaos, smearing, harassment, and lies to try to counter what is being revealed. And like I said to you, I don't want to really give any teasers, but there are things we're discovering now that will be brought forth. And here's the thing: I absolutely know that the minute those things are brought forth, the campaign is going to kick into high gear. And the funny thing is that it comes from both angles, okay? Because I'm sure all of you can think back to the post-sentencing press conference, the one that we recently reviewed, okay? And as you look at this post-sentencing press conference, just look at the absolute insane behavior of Doug Carter. Okay, think about the insanity of that press conference. Again, the post-sentencing press conference for Richard Allen. Look at McClellan, the prosecutor's behavior and words in that press conference. Look at Indiana State Police Superintendent Douglas Carter's absolute insanity at that press conference. And then you fast forward to now, and Murder Sheet's book has been released, which is half disinformation, half truths. And who pens the preface to that book, the introduction? Who presents that book to the world? None other than Doug Carter, Indiana Superintendent of the State Police, retired. How in the world Does Douglas Carter, when would you ever see the former superintendent of state police in which a horrific crime such as this occurred? When would you see him put forward a book containing such inaccuracies? Could you imagine anyone else that Doug Carter would produce or present a book for? But you see, it's a repeated campaign. It's a repeated what do I want to say? Uh, like a pattern. It's a repeating pattern of absolute insanity. And you bring that pattern on back in time to the family's bizarre behavior immediately when this all happened. And then you bring it forward to 2019 and the absolute insanity of switching sketches to an entirely different human being. You go from an old guy who looks older, heavier, completely different with a hat on, and you go to this absolutely younger guy with poofy hair and a beautiful face. Uh, I mean, it's absolute night and day. And then you compound that's compounded by the absolute bizarre behavior of Doug Carter over these years. The cryptic phrases, the weirdness, the sitting there with family members, the going around to crime con repeatedly. Um, and this goes for the entire state police. And then you look into the social media sphere and you look at all of the YouTubers, all of the Facebook groups, all of the Redditors, and you think about how there's been absolute chaos and insanity from the very beginning. And it's funny because people say, Prof, don't go live and cause chaos. But what they will never admit is that the chaos comes from the same group of individuals over and over and over again. And this group of individuals spans both sides of the aisle in all ways. Obvious prosecution shills, insaniacs, drug addicts, conservatives, and Indiana natives. And then absolutely unhinged defense advocates. People with deep internet technology and computer programming backgrounds. People with backgrounds tied into politics, far leftists. And the unifying factor in both of these groups is absolute chaos. You're not allowed to question the family. You're not allowed to talk about Daniel Pearson and Shelby Hicks. You're not allowed to really hit on anything that matters, like question the timeline and the fact of whether these girls were out there at that time, at that day, if they were deceased before, deceased later, if there was a secondary crime scene, which we know there was, or if there wasn't. As long as you don't get right over the target, you are allowed to exist. But the minute you start hovering right over the target, the attacks come, the smears come, the chaos comes, the threats come. And you take this back 7 years, all the way through YouTube. Look at the dead bodies that have followed this case. And if you say there haven't been, you're absolutely lying. There's been more than one dead body just in these past 2 years. And in my opinion, there's been a handful of dead bodies in the past 5 years. People have died over this case. It's the perfect game of narrative control. And I know it's easy to look at the prosecution and point all the fingers there because, of course, it's obvious. But until you experience yourself, you would not have much of an idea that the same exists on the other side. And that's what's absolutely inconceivable. And so, as I mentioned, I understand that there are many, 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 many people who don't want to admit that there may be problems with controlled opposition in this case because you grow attached to these social media personalities. You see these people as caring about Rick Allen. You see these people as adorable, cute, hardworking, strong. But like I said, you have to focus upon what actually matters, the fruit of their labor. And you judge them by that fruit, which is how I was able to start to have my eyes cracked open because I was the recipient of a bunch of stuff that caused cognitive dissonance that didn't make sense. And these same uh, elements exist in world politics and the news cycle that we're observing. I am absolutely certain that there have been individuals hired to handle the public narrative on this case. There's zero doubt in my mind. Like I said, you have a propensity of people tied to law enforcement and computer programmers. Why would that be? And so anytime you see any of these groups attacking, you look at this side, you look at that side. You pay attention to who's being attacked because those being attacked likely have said something or presented something that is extremely important. And it's happened again and again and again. You'll see direct attacks, you'll see smears, you'll see mocking, you'll see discrediting. And it will come from places you may not expect. So, as I mentioned, when you start to see it, just step back and try to understand what's going on. And as you do that, and you go looking all over the place, whether you go to Facebook or you go to Reddit or you go to other YouTube channels, as you go around and you start observing, you're going to observe anomalies, things that don't make sense, people behaving out of character, people contradicting themselves, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And that's the really concerning part. And something I was discussing with someone today that absolutely I just have a really hard time dealing with is this piece right here. Okay, so I'm going to bring this up because I think I need you to really take a look at it. Just a moment. Let's see. Okay, this is called the first joint stipulation regarding evidentiary matters. And I'm sure you have seen this before. I've discussed this before. And the funny thing is, I have a hard time getting over it. Okay, because I think you should understand how important this is. In the context of this Bridge Guy video release, back in March, understanding that Judge Gull has not released that footage. Okay. With all of the questions around the geofencing, who was out there that day, whether their victims were out there at the time and the place and alive or dead, the photo of Abby on the bridge that mysteriously cannot be found, the Snapchats, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. This becomes highly concerning. So I want to take a look. Okay. Again, this is first joint stipulations regarding evidentiary matters. And we're going to step through this extremely slowly because I want you to feel in your gut the concern over parts of this. Okay, comes now the state of Indiana, okay, by Deputy Prosecuting Attorney Stacy Diener, Richard Allen by counsel Brad Rozzi. Okay, so this is between Stacy Diener, representing the state, and Brad Rozzi, representing Allen. The parties having reached an agreement regarding the admissibility of certain items of potential evidence and matters related to the separation of witness order pertaining to the jury trial in this cause. The court now finds and orders as follows. The parties agree that the items referenced below shall be self-authenticated without the necessity of a witness verifying its origin, authenticity, or chain of custody. Okay, these items that we're going to discuss for the next 30 minutes, self-authenticated without the necessity of any verification of origin, authenticity, or chain of custody. The intention of this stipulation is to promote judicial economy throughout the course of the jury trial in this case. Now, that's your excuse. So for me, this sentence comes across as an excuse as to why this is being produced. Put that in the back of your mind. However, the parties do not agree to the specific admissibility or use of any item offered as evidence, as each party reserves the right to argue such pursuant to the applicable rules of evidence. Again, no verification of origin, authenticity, or chain of custody. All right. Now, as to be expected, you got to put something in. You got to bookend this with stuff that makes sense. So that's what they do. They bookend this with something that could make sense. All incel video recordings of Richard Allen while at Westville or Wabash. Okay. All incel videos of Richard Allen while at Westville Correctional Facility or Wabash Valley Correctional Facility. Well, that's sensible, right? That makes sense. You would expect that if they've got recordings of Richard Allen at Wabash and Westville, that it would be legit, because how are they going to get footage of him in there if he's not in there and they haven't had cameras? So it starts off sensible, okay? Next, all video recordings of Richard Allen created through the use of a handheld camcorder utilized by the IDOC staff when Richard Allen was transported outside of his cell, unless said recordings include confidential communications between Richard Allen and his treating psychologist or psychiatrist. That's an interesting caveat, but once again, item number 3 here, well, technically item number 2, if there are videos of Richard Allen utilized by the IDOC staff from a handheld recorder, you would expect that that would be authentic, okay? So they start the ball rolling here sensibly, is my point. But it's interesting here because then it starts it starts to get a little squirrely. Okay, let's move on to page 2. I'm sorry for this. All right, page 2. All door sheet notes from inmate companions or correctional officers, so long as companion or officer is called as a witness and testifies at the trial in this cause. Well, that's also acceptable. Okay. All door sheet notes, so long as the person tied to the note is called as a witness and testifies. Number 5, all medical and or mental health records provided to the parties by Indiana DOC or its agents by way of discovery request in this case, so long as the author of the mental health record and its contents is called as a witness in the trial. So that also makes sense. And it kind of doesn't even make sense. You know, when it comes to the videos, the door sheets, the medical records, as long as someone is going to be witnessing to it, it kind of doesn't make sense what was said in paragraph 1, that these are going to be admitted without a witness verifying its origin, authenticity, or chain of custody. But I've said to you before, this is okay. Now we're done with the preface, right? Enough of that. Here's where it gets absolutely insane. And really, guys, I would hope that all of you in the chat and anyone watching could resonate with me on how absolutely insane this is, where we're going. So let's go back to paragraph 1. Okay. The parties agree that these items will be self-authenticated without the necessity of a witness verifying it to its origin, authenticity, or chain of custody. Origin, authenticity, or chain of custody. And this is where it's absolutely mind-blowing. Number 6. Okay, let's get you over there to page number 2. Number 6 here. Items collected at the crime scene. Let's read that again because this is real. This is real. Origin, authenticity, or chain of custody. Items collected at the crime scene where the victims were located. Question. That bullet, was the bullet collected at the crime scene? Was the bullet collected at the crime scene? That's all I'm saying. The bullet collected at the crime scene or any other items collected at the crime scene. Was the phone collected at the crime scene? Were the victim's clothes collected at the crime scene? You see what I'm getting at here? Origin, authenticity, or chain of custody. Clothes, phone, bullet. No one else finds that to be bizarre? That your defense for Richard Allen would agree to this? But it gets weirder. Number 7, items collected pursuant to the search warrant of 1967 Whiteman Drive. Delphi, Indiana, during the month of October 2022. Question: what items were collected at 1967 Whiteman Drive, Delphi, Indiana, during the month of October 2022? Another bullet in the keepsake chest, the gun, clothing of Richard Allen, all the phones of Richard Allen. Authenticity, origin, or chain of custody will not be questioned for anything out of Richard Allen's house, for anything from the crime scene. Number 8, all AT&T records, all AT&T records containing pings or other communications to and from any cellular towers in the area near the High Bridge on February 13th or 14th, 2017. So whoa. That's your cast data, isn't it? That's all of your AT&T records containing pings to and from any towers near the High Bridge on the 13th and 14th. How about number 9? All AT&T cell phone records for Liberty German's cell phone from February 13th and February 14th, 2017. All AT&T records for any phone in the geofencing and the tower dumps and the cast data. All phone records for Liberty German's cell phone. And even though this would be included based on paragraph 1, which stated all items referenced below shall be self-authenticated without the necessity of a witness verifying origin, authenticity, or chain of custody. They double down here. Okay, now this is important to me. Number 10, the chain of custody for Liberty German's phone. So they've already covered Liberty German's phone in the items found at the crime scene. That was paragraph 6. They already covered Liberty's phone in paragraph 8. All AT&T records containing pings or other communications to and from any tower near the High Bridge. They've already covered the cell records for Liberty's phone in paragraph 9. And now in paragraph 10, they're tripling, quadrupling down on the phone, saying the chain of custody for the phone. And number 11, which they covered in item number 7 here, regarding the items collected pursuant to the search warrant of 1967 Whiteman Drive, which was Richard Allen's search warrant, where the gun was obtained. They go further in paragraph 11 and double, triple down on it as the chain of custody for the firearms tested by Melissa Oberg. You see, do you see why I would be mind blown that any attorney would agree to this? And then number 12 doubles down, and number 12 and 13 on the extractions of Liberty's phone. Look at this, 12 and 13. Electronic extractions done by Brian Bunner, including the extraction of Liberty German's phone which would include what? The video from the phone. Now, remember, what I'm discussing tonight is full circle. Full circle. We're discussing what happened in March 12th. The video from Liberty German's phone was leaked and still has not been released by the judge. And number 13, electronic extractions done by Christopher Cecil, including all appendices and reports for said electronic devices. And number 14, extraction of Derek German's phone. And you say, well, Prof, surely you must be crazy. Surely you must be crazy. They're not going to authenticate the authenticity, the chain of custody, or the, what was number one here? Origin. So they're not going to check out the origin of anything from Derek German, the chain of custody, the extraction, there anything regarding any phone in the geofencing or in the tower dumps or in anything that was pinged and anything to do with Liberty German's phone or anything at the crime scene, including the clothing and the bullets. But it gets worse. It does get worse. Let me draw your attention to the next page here. Page 3 is item number 15, Hoosier Harvest Store video. That's right. Hoosier Harvest Store video collected by the FBI with affidavit from FBI Special Agent Jeff Robertson with collection paperwork that was generated when the video was collected. Okay. So now, no question about the origin, the authenticity, or the chain of custody over the Harvest Store video. All right. And like any good gaslight, they bookend it with another innocuous thing. Remember, I said they started off, when they bookend this at the beginning, they started off with the video of Richard Allen in Westville and Wabash. No big deal. Well, same thing, the way they bookend this at the end, they bookend it with Becky Patty, Mike Patty, Anna Williams, Kathy Allen, Janice Allen, and Jamie Jones shall be excluded from the separation of witness order issued pursuant to Rule 615 of the Indiana Rules of Evidence, such that all of these individuals shall be permitted to attend the jury trial without being excluded as a fact rebuttal witness in this cause. Okay, so that's easy peasy. It's just bookending it with something you won't wonder about. Okay, just like they bookended it on the front side with the videos of Richard Allen at Westville and the door sheets and medical records. But like I said, when you're looking at numbers 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15, it's inconceivable that you would not retain the right to challenge the authenticity, the chain of custody, or the origin of anything at the crime scene, including the clothes, including the phone, including the bullet, anything at Richard Allen's house, including the bullet, including the gun, including his clothes, or anything from the phones, any of the phones, especially Liberty German's phone. Why would the defense agree to this? Did Andy Baldwin and Brad Rossi not realize the complexity of the Delphi case? It's odd because you would assume that when they took the case, maybe they didn't. Okay, maybe when they initially accepted the assignment, maybe they didn't realize the gravity of the Delphi murders case and the contradictions and all the complexity. But let me draw your attention again. I'm sorry to do this because I know I pulled it down, but look at the date that's signed. First day of trial. This was first day of trial, October 18th, 2024. October 18th. By October 18th, 2024, first day of trial, there's no excuse for the defense counsel to not, by the first day of trial, understand the complexity, the gravity, and the enormity of this case, especially when they had already become aware of the fact that there's 70 days of missing interviews, there's missing evidence, and there's a bunch of contradictions from all of the witnesses. So someone help me understand. Please, please, please help me understand why in the world they would ever agree to this joint stipulation. Chain of custody, authenticity, or origin? I mean, Harvest Store, Liberty German, bullet, gun, tower dumps, geofencing. Sounds like the entire case to me. Not challenging the origin of any evidence in the entire case, the authenticity of any evidence in the entire case, the clothing as well. I mean, you remember me saying that I thought that those clothes were just thrown in the Deer Creek after the murders? Someone got those clothes out of a trunk and went and threw them in the creek. Remember me saying that I felt those bullets were planted, both the one at the crime scene and the one in Richard Allen's keepsake chest? Remember I said, and many people have said for years, that that phone was planted, Liberty's phone planted there with faked evidence on the phone, under the body, left there to be discovered? So you're not challenging the clothes, which could have been thrown there as a distraction, planted. You're not challenging anything at the crime scene, which could have been planted, anything at Richard Allen's, which could have been planted, anything on Liberty's phone, which could have been planted. Not challenge the origin, not challenge the authenticity, and not challenge the chain of custody. We know these fuckers fucked up the chain of custody in so many ways. That is a known fact by the insiders. And if this was all done, I made this, I know this is going to be a flippant, smartass comment, but if this was all done in the, let's look at it again so I can make this point. Here we go. It says, judicial economy. Look at paragraph number 1. Paragraph number 1. The intention of this stipulation is to promote judicial economy. Remember how I said that's the excuse they give for agreeing to this? The excuse they've given for agreeing to this is judicial economy, promoting judicial economy. Well, hey, if that's the case, why would you rest a week early? That's judicial economy as fuck. Resting a week early. How economical do we have to be with the judiciary here? How many months did Karen Reed? How many months did she eat up the court system in her two fucking trials? Delphi couldn't even get a whole month. And like I said, if Baldwin and Rozzi did not understand the gravity of this case when they were assigned to Richard Allen, they should have figured it out by the first day of trial. I know personally, I was sitting here 4 or 5 days a week doing live after live after live after live in hopes to get their attention and shake them up and make them concerned about some of the lies and anomalies and things that have been said in this community, like Tina Rodell's daughter stabbing a girl in the neck to see what it feels like. And then I get wind of the fact that no, they never watched any YouTube. They didn't know what the fuck was going on YouTube at all. They actually don't know shit about the case whatsoever. They had no idea of all the social media chatter for the first 5 years on the case. And all of that was going on in the year or two leading up to trial. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Listen, I don't want to point the fingers towards the defense in this case, but these are questions that have to be asked. They're highly concerning. They are highly concerning. And then to have a guy on the team who helped Doug Carter with his campaign for sheriff, who was a fire chief of Carmel, Indiana, which is where Doug Carter became sheriff in Hamilton County, who's tied to law enforcement, deeply entrenched on the defense team. We sat here for thousands of hours going through every single screenshot from the community of Delphi for 7 years leading up to trial. That's why I don't ask you to go watch other channels. Whenever these other channels are giving you half truths, they're giving you good information mixed with disinformation, which makes a whole bad batch of information for consumers. People go over to these channels and they watch all those rehashed receipts mixed in. There's disinformation. And I say, well, why would you go do that? On my channel right now, there's 350 live streams full of all of the shit that's already been fact checked and authenticated. You know, why did the defense not take advantage of that resource? We all know that the discovery had been sanitized before it was handed over to the defense team. They weren't gonna find anything in discovery of value. It had already been sanitized. There was a whole lot of information that was not sanitized that was out here in the public domain, open source. I believe they would admit now that they should have had someone investigating this open source material, but they didn't. Anyhow, I wanted to go through those concerns as a way to start tonight's show because it's been irking me. It's been irking me. It's really been irking me because you have to understand you've got controlled opposition, you've got opposition, I'm sorry, you've got prosecution that was controlled. And those are your voices that you already know, the troll farm, all of the troll farm creators, Murder Sheet, and the like. And then you've got controlled opposition, all of the people that had their claws in the defense. So, anyway, I'd like to, now I'm inviting whoever would like to come discuss as we move on. This is just food for thought. And I brought it up because it in a conversation this morning, it came back around and it made me a little bothered again because it's like been nagging at me for a while. Um, anyway, I want to thank. Let's see, we had Jamie Boyd with a super chat. I appreciate all you have done and do, brother. God bless you and family. Thank you, Jamie. We had David Rogers with the super chat. Thanks, Prof, for all you provide here. Thank you. And we had Rebecca Ann. Thank you, Prof. Thank you, Rebecca Ann. Um, it's a big bother to me. I mean, because I got to tell you, I mean, I've said this so many times before on my show, but maybe there's someone new here who hasn't heard me say it before. But I've been bothered by the whole thing with Libby's phone for ages. For ages, literally since I first discovered the case and started looking into it, I've been bothered by this alleged Snapchat bullshit and anything to do with Libby's phone and the bridge guy video, the bridge guy in general, the weirdness, and now we got a an entire collection of evidence that was admitted to this trial that was not verified, authenticated, confirmed. Its origin wasn't confirmed. Um, it's bothersome because there are those of us who for years been saying they faked evidence. The Snapchat is photoshopped. The bridge guy is photoshopped. There's something wrong. There's weirdness in the audio. There's weirdness in the video. We're not sure the girls were there that day. We don't have any proof they were there that day. And then what do we get? We get nothing substantial. And you got your creators who have studied this media for years saying, no, it looks Photoshopped. We got Photoshop experts who have studied this Abby on the bridge photo saying, no, it's Photoshopped 100%. You've got witnesses. Remember these witnesses. And I've said ever since I stepped my foot on this case, I said the witnesses all lied. Well, you've got witnesses who are all acting strange, very bizarre. They cannot identify Richard Allen as the one who was on the bridge that day. they cannot identify that Richard Allen was the one they intended to portray in the sketches. Then you've got a judge who does not let the sketches in so that the witnesses can be questioned about the sketches. And no one in the courtroom asks the witnesses if Richard Allen is the individual they saw that day. The witness statements themselves contradict each other. You see what I mean? It's when me and my followers from the beginning were in our Discord and we were going piece by piece through all of this evidence, and we were saying none of this makes sense. None of it. And have you forgotten about Chris Mathis and Garrett Kurtz and Tina Rodell and Megan Allen and that whole contingent of what they all were saying? Chris Mathis and Garrett Kurtz were speaking as if they were involved or had knowledge of the situation. Tina Rodell and Megan Allen were talking like they were involved in the situation, like she was involved in the situation with this whole group of Kokomo crew guys. Keegan Kline told everybody that he was out there that day. As I mentioned, we are absolutely certain there was a secondary crime scene. Where is it? You know what my candidate is? It was Wilson Bridge. It was the Mears property. When I analyze this, break it down to the bare bones, it's the Mears property. This all took place on the Mears property at a secondary crime scene. None of that questioned. And you've got Gray Hughes, who comes from a PR organization, brought into this case. He develops the entire theory of the case, the timeline, the series of events, the chasing the girls across the creek, blah, 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 blah. Nick McClelland runs with that story verbatim, including the lingering for a moment. Remember, they go down the hill, they linger there for a moment, get spooked by the white van, allegedly, go across the rushing creek that was 2 foot higher than normal, rushing and freezing, somehow come out of there without leaving any marks, but then freezing cold and spooked by a van that had just rolled up that's at that Weber property at an elevated position looking right down on the crime scene. He stays there forever, has the girls undressed, does whatever, kills them, leaves no defensive wounds, and then somehow makes one of them redress and then gets out of there without being seen, without leaving any forensic evidence in his car, and never gets rid of the car, never gets rid of the gun. Yeah, it's too much. It's too much. But as I mentioned, they do this post-sentencing press conference and say, do not question the family. Do not file an appeal. Do not look at the crime scene photos. I'd walk over hot shards of Jerry Holman, who is not a liar. Then Doug Carter writes the preface to the book that Murder Sheet produces, telling this whole story the way they want it told. In the meantime, Ron Logan and Keegan Kline tell Reese Davis they were involved in it. with specific detail. In specific detail, they say what happened to the girls, to Reese. But everyone, they go to Crime Con, they get the awards, they double down on the we are the heroes, and everyone's supposed to just forget about it all. And you're supposed to forget about the dozens of plants on the case, those who are controlling the narrative. Like I said, across social media, it's not just here on YouTube. For years, they've controlled every aspect of this narrative on the case, on Reddit, on Twitter, on YouTube, on Facebook. Clearly, you all have had the opportunity to witness those bad actors at work. Anyhow, that's my speech for tonight. I would like to, like I said, I put the StreamYard link up if someone wants to take the invitation to come and introduce yourself to the community. I really wish that you would. This is our Meet the Community open lines time. And so many of you I have spoken with on the phone multiple times. Your voices are needed. All right. Well, I'll be waiting for you. Let me remind you all that I have a GoFundMe. I don't know if I can actually, I wanted to share it here. I have a GoFundMe. Please support the channel in order to keep me headed in the right direction and able to do this because this takes up a lot of time. I would appreciate as much support as possible if you're able to. I have a GoFundMe that I'm, for some reason, I have to go and copy the link. I'm not able to paste it all of a sudden. But I have a GoFundMe, Cash App, Buy Me a Coffee, all the support pathways. Please support the channel, but especially my GoFundMe right now. I'm trying to get up to my first goal, and we're halfway there. So please help me get to the goal on the GoFundMe. Mm, and I'll read some comments because if no one comes and join, we'll be getting out of here. Let's see, we got Ninja Warrior Assassin, Dirty Diana, Andre, Pie Crust, Quadaxo Mimi, Heather Brown, Sweet Dude Shibby, Pertinent, Critter Mama, Miss K, Willow Fox, Dieter, Fabby Lash, Oh Hey Christina, Carla Ann's here, Swade Smith, how you doing? Nicole Watt, David Rogers, Rebecca Ann, Fabby Lash, Mino Dino, Willow Fox, Andre. Who else is in here? Critter Mama. All right. But in the context of all of this, you've seen a handful of individuals get harassed to shit. Unbelievably. I know that many of you have witnessed it. There have been a handful who have been harassed to shit. You wouldn't believe it. Thank you, Ninja Warrior Assassin. Mm. And what's with all the harassment? If we are, if we were so irrelevant, wrong, stupid, unimportant, what's with all the harassment? And I don't mean debating or arguing the points that have been made. I mean the literal harassment, the personal attacks. What's up with the personal attacks? The personal attacks like this. Rick Snay, okay? Uh, his daughter, really? His marriage, really? His personal life, his job, really? Same with me, really? Noe's court proceedings, really? What about Amy G here? Amy G was here earlier. Amy G, really? There is in light in the dark. What? Why harass? What has she done? Harassment, personal life, things showing up at our houses, things showing up at our kids' houses, false reports into the police. Why? Hundreds upon hundreds of lies, smears, post videos over and over and over and over and over again. Why? If we are all so wrong, it's funny because I told someone today, I've not deleted one live stream, at least not in the last couple years. So the first 60, 70 live streams, I deleted them because I was smoking and whatever. The audio was bad because I had not gotten a microphone and all the stuff yet. So yeah, the first, few dozen of lives, I did delete or made private. They're not gone. They're just privated. I privated them because the lighting wasn't good, the sound wasn't good, I was smoking. This was all so long ago that we really weren't even talking about the proceedings with Richard Allen yet. But I have not deleted a single video since Richard Allen's arrest. Every live I've done for the past 2 years is still right here. Every word, every screenshot, every comment in the comment section, every chat in the live chats, everything's still here. Haven't deleted a thing because I haven't lied. I haven't misrepresented. I haven't had to make anything disappear. You can't say that about everyone's channels. But yeah, so this is what I'm saying to you guys. We need more of you. I truly mean it. Okay. This community needs more of you to let your voices be heard. I really, really, really encourage you. The thing they've counted on is there not being more people step forward and express themselves loudly with their voices. They're counting on your silence. And they're counting on just being a few of us here using our voices. Myself, Rick, and If 10 of you would come forward and regularly start speaking, it would make a huge difference. If 20 of you would come forward and start using your voices, it would make a huge difference. It really would. And I encourage you to. I truly do. It's not the easiest. You might get doxxed. You might get harassed. You might get shit in your mailbox, but you'll make it. Um, your voices are needed. They are because we don't know necessarily what's going on here. It's very complex. It's very complex. There are so many voices that are controlled. We need independent voices. That's the call that I'm making, I guess. What we need are independent voices, which are your voices. We need more independent voices to step in and use their voices. Uh, and it's just the bottom line that I've noticed that it's the independent voices that get the harassment because you are the threat. So, as I mentioned, I'm going to be doing less and less Delphi because it's too hard. We're all by ourselves, and there's no point in rehashing the same old thing over and over and over, especially when it's already sitting here in the channel, already done that, and others have already done it. So, so I haven't been watching the chat. Let me take a look at what's going on. But thank you, Ninja Warrior Assassin, for the chat, super chat. Fabulash says tobacco. What are you talking about? Tobacco. Okay. I wish everyone concerned about the truth and justice would come together. Well, you have to ask yourself why they're not. Why they're not. I want to address another thing while I'm here, just spinning my thumbs waiting for someone. Flora, because this consistently bothers me. As I've said, I always look at whatever narrative they're pushing really hard on to indicate to me that the opposite might be true. So there's this thing about, is there some connection to Flora where you had four little girls lose their lives in a fire? So if you were to sit back and look at this objectively, you say, "Hey, well, maybe there doesn't have to be a connection. The connection could be locality. Period. The connection could be locality. That could be the only connection. That's what an objective person sitting back from afar would say, because maybe it's just the location that connects them. But it's not that simple, because then you start to see that there are individuals who connect the two. Individuals like Becky Patty, Josh Ayers, okay? Then you get, and Dennis Randall. And then you get to looking at those connected to those individuals. So not only do you have a locality that's connecting them and a time frame, but now you have a whole group of individuals connecting them. And then, like I said, the final straw is deduction. When you look at what these people are pushing, that they're not connected. And by that, I mean the absolute worst, most aggressive plants are narrative controllers. When they're pushing so uh, hard on the fact that they are not connected, then logical deduction, you'd say they must be connected because why else would these people try to push so hard the narrative that they're not connected? And it's another thing that I'm pointing towards observing the fruit of their labors. Look at what they do, okay? Look at their actions. When you're looking at everyone in the community, you want to figure out who the plants are or who the controllers are. You start looking around at the actions of people. Who's being dishonest? Who's coming in with narrative pushing? And remember, I said the other day, a narrative push doesn't have to be a hard push. Sometimes it's just a nudge, and that slight nudge is enough to get it off course. But you look at the people who are pushing the narratives, who are lying to you, who are manipulating, who are coming with some agenda to convince you of certain points, or to straight up harass the people who are somehow hovering over the target. And if you look closely enough, you might start seeing patterns. And those patterns start to show you, oh, well, yeah, why is that person doing that? Why freak the fuck out? Every time Prof says something important, you freak the fuck out. Why? You know, what I mean by that is acting out of character. So you've got someone who's got a certain character. Prof says something, whatever, something new. Suddenly, this person starts acting way out of character, starts flipping out. Those are the signs that there's something wrong here. And trust me, in Delphi, there's a lot wrong. There's a lot wrong. You've got dozens of people, dozens. Um, and it just makes no sense. It makes no sense why that would ever be the case with the murders of two little girls, unless it's connected to something bigger. And I guess that's my ultimate conclusion. It's connected to something bigger, which would it would it would come to be expected that you would see this if it's connected to something bigger, which is it's the result of simple deduction. Why else would you have all of this over two little girls? I mean, there's girls all the time. There's little girls all the time. How many murders this month, this year, this for past 5 years? How many murders since Abby and Libby in Indiana of kids? Do you see all that for them? You see it for Delphi because it's connected to something bigger. It has to be. It's the only reason you'd see it. And that's called common sense. Oh, we got somebody back here. Let's see if this is going to work. All right. Okay. Hello.
Hey, Prof.
Check 1, 2.
Hey, can you hear me good?
Oh, hi. I hear you,
Hey,
Christina.
hey,
Oh, hey, Christina.
how's it going?
All right. Hey, everybody say hello to Christina then.
Hey, guys. Hey, everybody.
All right. Hi, how you doing, Christina?
I'm doing good. I'm sorry it took me a little bit to figure out how to get on to use this, but I figured it out. So I finally get to come on here and say hi.
Awesome. Everyone's glad to hear you. I'm sure.
Thanks.
Oh yeah, I see everyone's saying hello. Skip's here. Skip says hello. Hi, Skip.
Hey, I wasn't looking at any of the comments for right now, so, but hi, everybody. Tonight's live's been really good. I'm really glad to hear a lot of the things that you've had to say.
Oh, thank you. What do you want to talk about? I'd
I
like
don't know.
to introduce yourself to the community.
Um, well, I don't know. We could talk about. I don't know. I don't know. I'm a little more shy, but I do have a lot to say, but I don't know when.
Good. Well, I'm glad you came on because everyone can get to hear you. This is what I mean by we want. I guess we want to be able to talk and have more people feel free to talk.
Yeah, it would be pretty cool to at least hear a little bit from some of the other people. I know there's a lot of people that we have relationships with on here, but yeah. So I figured that's why I figured I'd call in and say hi because I I think I've talked to you guys for a long time, and there's a lot to be said, but yeah, I think it was a great idea to get everybody together to have a call in. Maybe some other people will call in too. So,
Maybe
but
so. You guys get ready. Come call in.
yeah,
Hmm. Critter Mama asks a question. I don't know if it makes sense to you, but it says, "What do you theorize your thoughts on this misinformation?" So maybe in general,
what do I
what
what do
are
I
your
think?
thoughts on misinformation in Delphi?
Well, I agree with exactly what you say. I believe it's some sort of PR campaign narrative spin thing. It's something um, very coordinated.
I think so too. Hey, Critter Mama says, "I'll call in if you won't see my hair." Well, just don't
Just
turn the camera on.
don't turn the camera on.
Yeah, I'm not making anyone turn the camera on. It's hard enough just to get brave enough to talk.
Yeah, there's no, there's a lot that's going on that I don't even really know what I'm at liberty to say right now either. But I mean, there's a lot going on behind the scenes that a lot of people haven't picked up on yet. And I think you're right when you say that a lot of people they love the people that they follow, and they don't want to believe that they could be involved in this whole misinformation stuff. It is a lot of the most popular people.
Yeah, I mean, if I think back, you know, I don't know if you know Greeno, but if I think back way in time, you got like
Mhm.
somebody like Greeno, like people get this affection for people that they know. It's like a personality thing. People get to know a personality, and then it's kind of like they give them a lot of latitude, and it becomes more of a personality thing than a fruits of their labor thing. And for me, that's been a big problem because say when I came in, I was immediately surrounded by the trolls. but I didn't realize it at the time because I came in and I said, "Oh, well, that person's nice. That person's nice. That person nice." But it's because they're being nice to you at the moment. They're coming towards you with niceties, or love bombing or praise or helping, quote unquote. Let me mod for you, that type of thing.
Yeah, that's what I've noticed also. It's kind of this swarming thing around specific creators. Oh, where'd you go, Prof? Hey guys, I guess I'm running the show tonight.
Whoops,
There you
I
are.
dropped out.
It's okay. It's okay. I
Thank
was
you.
holding it down for you. No, I was just saying, like what I've noticed is they swarm a creator. They show them a lot of love. I mean, which everybody wants that. And
Especially when you're new. Yeah, you're new, you need people.
exactly. And then there's a lot of people that, are in the chat that attack anybody that really says anything that a few people will disagree with. And then with the whole group think mentality, you end up with people that are afraid to speak out because they don't want to have what's happened to you happen to them. And what people need to understand is the people that are doing a lot of this are not homegrown people like me and you and many of the people in the chat. They're people that are a part of, I guess, what is it, like a PR campaign type thing? I don't exactly know even what you would call it, really. I just know it's coordinated.
I've seen a lot of coordination,
Hmm.
both sides too.
Yeah, there's a lot of that, and then I mean, there's a ton of things that I wish, well, that I would love to say, but I don't really know exactly what to speak about yet, or when is a good time to talk about any of that kind of stuff, if that makes sense.
Hmm.
I've just noticed a lot of things that are concerning, and people should pay attention. Pay attention to people's actions. Pay attention to the people that have been honest, the people that have dirty deleted, the people that have backtracked, that have came back out with different, well, they've stretched the truth, or they've things like that. And then you look at the people who haven't. And I mean, I've always enjoyed coming to your lives. I haven't found anything that you have been dishonest about or that you have lied about, but I have seen a lot of lies from a lot of other creators who have then changed the story, or uh, with pushback, they've admitted involvement in this or that. And I just really hope that people are paying attention to things like that. I don't think anybody's bad. I'm not saying anything like that. I just think that some people are a little more trustworthy than others.
Yeah. And it's like a whole spectrum too, because you got some people straight up mm, fabricating evidence, like, you know
Yes.
what I mean? So some people are using AI to
Hmm.
straight up fabricate evidence.
Yeah.
But then it's a whole spectrum in all ways too, because then you have other people who are just interjecting or inserting disinformation that's subtle,
Hmm.
or taking things and twisting them. And I've always been about, like, we can't do this. It's hard enough, it's difficult enough already. Like we have to be straight up no matter what it means, and that's been a problem.
Well, I think that's what I've noticed is that things the history has been rewritten basically. So the things that happened from March 14th until now, it's been completely rewritten. So the way that you were portrayed to the public was that you were mean or angry or that you were attacking people. And I think a lot of people have forgotten or they haven't went back and listened to those lives, and you weren't. That's not the way that you conducted your lives. You were, I mean, from what I went back and looked at all of these lives. I, you were not yelling, you were not angry, you were asking for there to be transparency. You were asking for whoever's behind like this website own up to it. But it's all been changed and manipulated, and a lot of people have taken that as a fact. And it has really made you look bad to people because of all of the manipulation since then. And I think if people went back and watched those lives, they would recognize that your goal, from what I understood, was for there to be transparency because there has been none in this case.
Yeah.
And yeah, there hasn't. Yeah.
Well, that's what I was saying at the start of the show, that when this all, if we're going to look at the past 6 months,
Hmm.
the intention was not to destroy or harass anybody. The intention was to demand some sort of transparency and honesty because we're dealing in the murder of two little girls, you know?
Yeah.
But that kind of smearing is very, very effective. It reminds me of Adrian, who
Hmm.
I don't know if you know her, but so going back further like a year, there were people on the other side who were running all around, and it was a lot in the comment sections and the chats, and they were saying all these untrue things about me to smear me. So they're saying, oh, prof this and prof that and prof this and prof that. And Adrian absolutely hated me. She absolutely hated me. And for no reason, because she was influenced by what she was hearing because it was coming from more than one. And
Yeah.
then eventually, I guess she got brave. She'd have to tell that story herself, and I think she has before. But she's like, "Yeah, prof, and da 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 da," and eventually she realized, "Oh, none of that's true."
Hmm.
and and then it's like I don't just support Adrian now just to do so. It's just that we always agree on a lot of the things we're seeing, and I appreciate that. And I think she realized that when she told me. I was like, oh, I had no idea. But she told me how effective all of that was. She was like, yeah, because it was several of them going through all the chats repeatedly over and over again, like it sounded believable until until she realized who was actually, because she was getting like some very horrible harassment.
Hmm.
And so, because of all that, she assumed it was coming from me until she realized literally where it was coming from. And she's like, "Oh,"
Right.
and that's what I'm saying about how effective this all has been, because it's been multi-tiered. It's like there's so many layers of it, from the what seemingly harmless smearing to the outright like negativity in responding, like regarding the situation you're talking about. I
Hmm.
I just did not like this bridge guy video because when it came out, my eyes said, that doesn't look right. It looks faked. Like the colors, I've had iPhones ever since the beginning. I remember
Yep.
since the iPhone fucking, I don't know, 2010 or 2012.
Hmm.
I remember I seeing it, my first eyes laid on it. laid eyes on it, I thought, those colors don't look right. The colors just do not look right. And and when it so when I saw that, I saw everyone else saying the same thing. And it started this question, this nagging question in the back of my head, like, why does this not look right? This must be an enhanced video,
Mm-hmm.
enhanced version. And then the way that the people behind releasing it were so adamant that it and doubling down on, no, it's not. It's legit. It's unenhanced. It's real. And that was just it was too confusing. And then the more
Yep.
questions about it, the more vitriol in response. And as you witnessed yourself, like it just got completely out of hand because I couldn't understand the amount of vitriol over such a simple question. Like, what is this? Where did it come from? Prove it, show it.
Yeah, that was the thing that a lot of people, I believe, have forgotten, is that that was all that was said those first few days, especially, that this looks faked. Where did this come from? Just all of those questions non-stop. And whenever, there was weird stuff going on where people are making posts about, uh, well, I don't know who updated the website, all the, and then, oh, the website's been updated. You know, it's it's weird how people, a lot of people haven't paid attention. It's very weird how there was only a handful of people who were confident where, or I guess trusted this, that this came from, the website, and then were kind of like on top of, they were looking up on these updates. Uh, but then there's the mockery on, what was on Twitter. It's mocking the things that they were doing behind the scenes in people's faces. There's, what was it? I don't remember, something about who are these amateurs that that's mocking people, like their viewers, the people that trust them. They're mocking them out in the open. And then whenever you call it out, I had my doubts. I was thinking, like, what the hell is Prof saying? Because I just had no idea about the things that were going on. And then once I,
Oh, I understand. It's difficult because it's so difficult to see, like, or
mhm,
to, you
right,
never expect it. Is like, I told someone earlier, I didn't expect any of this one. I would not have done this.
yeah. Well, I think most people like me who have no idea about a lot of the things that are going on, like the whole Twitter aspect. I never knew really the levels that, I guess, that they or different people are really busy on Twitter. And um, so there's a whole nother world that a lot of viewers are not aware of that happens on different platforms. It's almost like different planets is the way I describe it. It's like different planets. There's one way that people portray themselves on YouTube, and another on Reddit, another on uh, Twitter, wherever, they're very different, the way that I've seen different people act. And so I don't think a lot of people are aware how, just the attacks and the the things that are going on other places outside of YouTube. I wasn't aware of that. And I started, after the stuff came out about the video and then the stuff coming out about the contract, that is about the time that I started digging. And that's whenever things just, just I mean, I've said before, my mind is blown. I've been shocked. Like I said, I kind of wondered what you were thinking, calling out, you know, specific people because I hadn't seen anything before. But it was not long after that that things became more and more clear. And I'm not trying to be cryptic either. I just don't really know. I don't really know how much I want to share yet, but I mean, I am working on some stuff too. Just some stuff that I've found. So, but yeah, it's. I hope that people pay attention to the people who have been honest and the people who have been telling lies. People that have been, you know, caught in a lie or backtrack. Pay attention to these people's language, to the words that they use. There's tons of it if they pay attention. A lot of it is in old lives. What was it? Oh God, I wish that I had like the video to a couple of videos to share of the language that these people are using, or at least they did in the past for sure. Back in whenever all this was going down. Do you remember?
Mm.
What was it? I don't know if I can close this to search, but there's specific language that everyday people do not use that these
Oh,
people are using.
yeah. It's. I mean, I find like this. It's like this. There's this professional sheen
Hmm.
to some that where there shouldn't be. You know, if you're dealing with real people.
Exactly.
Um, but like I
Exactly.
was saying, that the hard thing is you never expect this when you come in because I know when I came in, I'm like, oh, this is just a case. It's just a normal case.
Hmm.
But now my brain is like, oh, this is a case that has narrative control being exercised throughout social media by multiple actors.
Hmm. Well, that's like I've said since very early on. The very first person that people can uh, pinpoint to, well, what is kind of referred to as controlled opposition, is Doug Carter and the language that he uses.
Hmm.
It is uh, it's textbook controlled opposition.
He's the biggest troll of all. Yes. No,
Yes,
really.
right.
The gaslighting is unbelievable. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. If I could pull it, I don't know if I can close, or I don't know if I can minimize this and go look, because the things that it says, like you can check off every box for what Doug Carter does, and then you see that all throughout this case. You hear people talking about where they say they needed to get a communications plan. That's why this website was created, and
Oh
it
yeah,
was.
like a professional PR language type of thing. Yeah.
Yes, like me and you don't use that kind of language. I would never say anything about a communication plan, ever. The only people who use that kind of language are people who do that. What else was said? Uh, he. Let's see. There was in another live where was talking about creating the website, which was I think that was one of the few truths that was told, which it was created the day that Rick Allen was sent. No, the day that they got the verdict in on November 11th. I believe that was the 11th. All of a sudden, you have a website going up. It goes live that day. Who does that? And we heard, oh, you know, nobody would have time. This was this morbid task. Okay, that's over dramatizing the task. It's crazy. And then that means this was set up in advance. And then you hear the same people talking about how they got in contact with Kara. It's like, what? And they're making this website. So they needed to get a communications plan. that is That is not normal people talk. These all of these people have given people many, many clues they have not paid attention to.
Yeah, that's what I said earlier at the beginning. How people did this
Hmm.
and they did this
Right.
because you don't want to see. You want to stay in your safe little bubble, I guess. The status quo, the way things were, but
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
I guess, yeah, I don't know. I'm just really like this. So my concept is the world has been waiting for this video from Liberty's phone.
Hmm.
Okay, regarding this situation, they knew that that would have to be provided. That like everyone knows that that was going to have to be given up at some point.
Right.
So it was delivered, but to deliver it through a third party on an anonymous website
Hmm. Through YouTubers, through
through YouTubers when
attorneys, or yeah.
it looks problematic, and then for the court to deliver almost all exhibits from the court
Hmm.
except for any exhibit having anything to do with this video,
Right.
like does no one else see the problem with that?
Well, and that's like what a lot of people are not, they're overlooking with the way that things come out. If you look up uh, how a PR campaign type thing or a narrative, whatever you want to call it, if you look at these things up, one of the things that is in the list of things is strategically releasing evidence,
Oh yeah. Hmm.
things like, or exhibits in this case, strategically having things come out. And if you look at the way that these things came out, they all come out around something, some key date or some kind of key important whatever for Rick Allen. Nearly every single one of them. With the video, what was it? Was that? I have to look back at my calendar. The day that the video was released, what was? Wasn't that the day that Rick Allen's?
Oh, the day that the appeal was filed on my case,
Yeah, it was.
because it actually happened the day before, but it
Mhm.
didn't post to my case for 24 hours or so, or whatever,
Yeah. So,
18 hours.
I forget what was, without looking at my the paperwork and stuff. I think it was where the attorneys filed the notice of appeal or something like
Yeah,
that.
that's what it is.
Yeah.
That's what it is. Which
Okay.
happened on the 11th, but didn't
Mhm.
post until the 12th. And then boom, like clockwork, video drops.
Yeah, exactly. And then every other, um, every other leak was within a day or so of something else important going on in Rick's case. Okay. This, who would do that? Why? And just like the video being released on March 12th, and then the jokes and the mockery about the 213, which February 13th, 312 reverse, but then you hear,
213, right? Exactly.
right,
Yeah.
you hear the joking and the mockery about it, but that's not an accident, and then they're, you hear, like I said, it's people, it's not just conspiracy stuff, it's actually happening. There's a lot of other things that are happening on dates, like similar, with that. And it's, to me, that's like signaling. It's, or pattern planting, something along those lines. And a lot of people think it's crazy, conspiracy, but it's happening in this case, and it's not accidental.
No, it's happened too many times. And this is what I mean
Right.
about the patterns of all of this.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I just, I would like people to look at the anomalies in people's behavior and actions and all this stuff. And like when things happen, look, like right now, they're marching out. So all over the community right now, from both sides, they're marching people out from out of the woodwork
Hmm.
to lay down certain narratives right now. And you
Hmm.
got to wonder, like, okay, September, why in the hell in the first 2 weeks of September are you marching these people out to talk about the leaks and about Daniel Pearson and Shelby Hicks? Like,
Right.
that's been ongoing for years. We've been talking about the leaks and Shelby Hicks for years, but now you're marching people out to lay down this certain angle on those things. Why now? You
Well,
know?
that's what I noticed. That's what that's one of the things that um, was very obvious to me, and hopefully it become if it wasn't obvious for people, hopefully it becomes obvious for them. That's where it became blatantly clear the narrative steering whenever in another YouTube live where you have I know Skip was on on a live and they're trying to have a conversation and you got attorneys calling in, and then when they're talking about law enforcement and the shitty job that was done in this case and the inexcusable things that have happened, and then they're told there's nothing you can do about it. That is narrative steering. That's exactly what it is, because they're it does not look good for Indiana, and it also is not good. Well, it's actually good for Rick. It's not good for Indiana. For there to be a community of people to come together for Rick and to be speaking out publicly as one group, basically shouting to the rooftops about the madness that went on in Indiana with Rick Allen. They know it's bad when you have a pretrial detainee that you have in a supermax prison and you're walking him around on a leash. You have 8 to 10 guards to bring him to a hearing, like what Hannibal Lecter. They they
Yeah,
don't
that's
want
PR. I mean, that is
right,
PR.
right,
That's prosecutorial perception
mhm,
control.
right. That's what I noticed that live, with the next live. After that, that's where it really jumped out to me, was where same thing. People are wanting to come out and talk about this stuff with the Daniel Pearson and how things that Shelby said, and just making a big deal out of whether or not Shelby told the truth. Who cares? The facts are the facts. Like, we either have whatever was said in trial, which the transcripts from the trial say 230 out of Shelby's own mouth. So I'm not exactly sure why it's being pushed, or why that's out there, uh, arguing about the time difference, and then that's also put in stuff online on what is it on the GitHub. It's on there, like the things that this person on YouTube is telling them, as if it's a I'll take that back. It's not really on there as a fact, but it's listed with factual things about the timeline.
There's a whole lot of that. Yeah, yeah.
Right.
There's a whole lot of that. It almost seems as though every time there's something important,
Hmm.
there comes the disinfo or
It
the
is.
confusion.
It is. If I could find my notebook, I have so much stuff. I just don't. I don't know if this. I don't know if I can like. I don't know if I can like get out of my little the app for this to look for some stuff. And I have a notebook also, but yeah, there's tons of stuff. And I mean, I can't remember it right off the top of my head, but I could if I find my notebook. But yeah, that's I don't. I mean, I don't have. I think it's great to hear other creators. I actually really like. I mean, I have a whole ton of, creators and channels that I enjoy watching or listening to. And I enjoy hearing other people who, have knowledge about the case or who are friends with whoever or know other people. But I have a problem whenever it's being amplified, I guess, like through so many different ways, like, through lives, which I enjoy. I think it's great. Like, I enjoy hearing it. But then whenever you start to see that it's not just hearing somebody's story, it's now being pushed, it's that's concerning to me. I can't, I don't know if I can, I don't know how to see if I can read the chat. I'm not really sure. I'll probably wait.
I'm trying. I mean,
I
I'm trying to put some up here.
don't know
There's a
if I
way
can
on
say it.
StreamYard. It's
Yeah.
something you go to, but
Hmm.
I'm not I'm not familiar enough being doing it myself to have much memory, but I know there's a way to see it, but it's not it's kind of hidden.
Yeah, that's okay. It's no big deal. That's not a problem. I want to find, I wish I could find my notes because
Um,
I'm terrible at remembering things off the top of my head. But it's like I have so much stuff in my head. It's like I can't.
well, it's kind of why I've like a lot of people whine to me about like, Prof, why don't you cover the case anymore? And I say, I have. Go back to the hundreds of hours of covering all those details. Been there, done that. I think the most important story right now is what's right in front of our faces that people have a hard time seeing.
Right.
Like why are people doing this? Why is there this stranglehold on narrative points, and why do people freak the fuck out and go crazy if you just get anywhere close to something important?
Yeah, that's one of the things that another thing that I hope that people pay attention to is where you are shunned from a group if you do not like the same people, if you don't have these exact same values. It does not, things do not have to be that way. That is not even, I mean, imagine if our nation were built on those kind of uh, principles. It's not. We have freedom of speech, like, and all of those things are what make America. It's kind of cliche, but it really is. It's what makes America so much better than other places. Okay, but then you have people who insist on you hating other people. And then, like in this community, that's how it is. You are mocked and you are, um, like, same things happen to me, literally just because I watch your channel. Attacked. I was called a Nazi. I was told, I'm not to believe anything I say because I'm a prof chatter. And I've never been ugly or said anything out of the way to anybody ever. Like, I want to hear what other creators have to say. I enjoy it. Whether or not I agree with all of it, it's irrelevant. I don't go causing trouble, but and that's where the group think comes in, where you have a couple of these people who attack somebody who says anything, as to get you out of their chat. And then other people, it's almost like if you don't do that, you don't fit in and you're the next one to do it. And nobody wants to be done that way. And it's not okay. It's not acceptable.
It's brutal. Yeah, I mean, I did a bunch of talking before all of this chaos about how there's a culture of fear
Mhm.
that's been uh, cultivated in this community. Like all of this shit from all sides has literally created a culture of fear. That's why I can't get anyone up on here. Thankfully, I'm glad that you did, but every time I do this, one of these where I put the link up, it's a very difficult to get anyone from the chat to join because there's this culture
Right.
of fear.
Mhm.
And I mean, it's understandable because there's a reason for the culture of fear. It's all of the harassment, doxing, deaths,
Mhm.
and threats. It's just all brutal. It's brutality. And people don't seem to remember, like, hey, we're discussing two little dead girls. Like,
Right.
is that the way we're going to do this? But it seems to not be about that. It seems to be about, like you say, groupthink,
Mhm.
uh, gang stalking tactics or whatever, smearing, threats.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, I mean, just recently, I, for the first time ever, I was lied. Lies were told about me, that I said another creator was stupid, and then it was also said that I said that their viewers or their followers, their chatters, were stupid. And if anybody knows me in any chat or any comment section, I've literally never said anything like that. I've never called anyone. I don't. But that's the way that the mob mentality works. You have one or two people and that's the thing. They'll literally say lies, and anybody can go through any chat, anything. I've never deleted anything. I've never called a creator stupid. There's one or two people who I've put in comments that I dislike, and I have no shame in, uh, you know, giving my opinion on that. But that's it. And it's not a creator. It's people that I think are steering the narrative in this case. But I've never called any. I don't call anybody names. And like that kind of stuff.
chaos agents,
Yes.
creators of chaos for chaos's sake, or distraction,
Yeah,
whatever.
it's like, what did that? I mean, why would that even be necessary? Who cares if I watch your channels? Like, since when did people become ostracized if they watch another YouTube channel? Like, I don't go to anybody else's channel and cause problems. I actually really enjoy a lot of these other channels because I really want them getting the word out about Delphi. But the thing is, it's not some of the people are not getting the word out. They're creating chaos, and a lot of people aren't seeing that. And a lot of the time, a lot of the things that I've noticed, just like you had mentioned, the whole Daniel Pearson thing with the timeline. Like, I was
Mhm.
really glad to see Amy do the timeline the other day because you don't hear about it enough. And then I've noticed that was whenever things went really, I don't know, they just seemed to be really people. I think it was, I mean, I think it was pretty obvious how the people were doing in that one, trying to steer the narrative. That was everything came out around then. These are the things that I'm concerned about because these are, I mean, okay, if her friend told her something, that's that's great. But I don't understand why there's just been. I don't really know. I don't have anything negative to say about anyone. My I hope that people pay attention to the people, pay attention to their behaviors, pay attention to the people who have lied to you, who have been misleading, who and there's a lot of other stuff that's been going on that a lot of people don't know about. Um,
Mhm.
it's I what was it? I can't remember. Like, I told you, I told you like a while back, like, um, what was it? Whenever in one of the lives, All Eyes was explaining all of this stuff about how, what are they called? Gray key. Was that what it's called? Gray.
Oh, the softwares
Yes.
for phone stuff,
I can't remember whatever that other one was called. Was it called autopsy?
autopsy.
Is that what it's
Hmm.
called? I can't remember.
I think
Auto,
so.
but she was like going into detail of explaining this stuff, and I'm thinking, oh, yeah. Then somebody asked her, "Was she a Fed?" And that just blew my mind because she breezed past that. And I thought, I mean, if I said that to you, I feel like you wouldn't blaze past it. It'd probably kind of be silly. It wasn't. I don't know. She's a Fed. I'm not saying that. It's just that seemed weird. The knowledge that she had on that stuff seems she seems very knowledgeable. I don't think that's stuff that the average person would know. Um, there's a
Well,
lot
I
of
mean, that whole thing is that whole what do you call it? GitHub is
hmm
not something the average person would be able to do. Like,
yeah,
does no one realize that?
hmm yeah. That's actually yeah. It's if you think about the amount of time that it takes to do a website, and I think she's still having problems with her eye. So you're talking eye strain for I guess one eye. Then you're talking. There, I believe she said she's got a couple of kids, married. So you got a husband, and then if you the amount of time that it would take to do these things if people really think about it, you're talking. And I think, when was this has been, I can't remember exactly how long it's been since it was put up, but this is from somebody who, and I'm not trying to, you know talk ugly. I'm not doing that. What I'm saying is I'm trying to put this together in my head. When you have somebody who can't figure out live streams, not even a year ago, was about that long, maybe a year ago, to putting
Mhm.
together a whole damn website. Okay. You're also talking about having to get court documents, and that's either what you're having to do an open records request or getting them from somewhere. If you're getting,
uh, Transcribing them, hyperlinking
hmm
them,
yep, doing
doing the
linking.
entire trial, and da 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 da.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
you're talking, these things take hours, hours out of the day. Not to mention a family, and I mean, maybe she's great at multitasking. I don't really know. Like, that's awesome. But the thing is, though, this is hundreds of hours. And I'm not just talking about like 100. I mean like 6 or 700 hours minimum of work. Well, probably what, maybe like 4 to 6 or 7. Like 100, okay? You really only have how many hours a day to do this?
I mean, your typical workday is 8 hours. Who has 8 hours to work on Delphi for free?
Yeah. I mean,
But and
exactly.
another thing I think about all the time are the habitual accounts that you see in
hmm
every single live stream,
Yeah,
every single channel, all over Reddit, all over Twitter, and you start to back off of it and look and you think, how in the world can some of these people literally be everywhere all the time?
exactly. Well, well, um, I don't know if I could send the on Twitter. Do you remember? Oh man, I don't know. If I could, I don't know if I can minimize this, but I could possibly send it to you. I don't know if you saw on Twitter what was posted by DB. I don't know if you have seen.
I don't know.
It's there. there's a post on there about like somebody, who is that lady? She's a reporter. She's on Twitter
Mm,
too. It's the lady.
they
She
hate Coffindoffer, Jennifer
it's
Coffindoffer, or whatever her
it's
name.
no, it's a smaller one than that. I forget who it
No,
is. It was a lady that
mm,
was asking about a website, and it was like,
I don't know.
uh, somebody asked about a website, and how they should put somebody should put together a website, and then DB or somebody commented about that they do have a website. It's already been put together, and then there's been all these people putting countless hours into it. Have you seen that one?
Mm-mm.
The screenshot. Well, I don't know screenshot. I mean the post on Twitter or whatever. Um, there's some. I don't remember who. I wish I could remember who the lady was so I could tell you what it. But anyway, there's a post on there where I don't really know why they kind of. To me, it seemed like they were kind of being a little bit short with the lady, but and she was suggesting that a website be made. This was last.
Oh, you're
This
talking about Rosie Palfy. I
that's
remember that. Yeah,
yeah. So
conversation.
you've
Yeah.
seen that one, okay?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, but that was her name, Rosie. I don't know
She
who
was
she.
nicely, so they did to her what they do to like Amy G. They just real aggressive response to an innocent question.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Right. It was something about like she was suggesting a website be made, and this was in maybe I want to say October of 2024, um, where she was suggesting a website be made. You know, a place to go get all of these documents for supporters, and like I guess DB had commented to her and was like, "Oh, you know, there is one that's already made," and da 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 da. But then she said she wasn't aware that there was a website or something like that. But then it was the comment after that that was very concerning to me, where he says there's 20 to 25 people working on this case or something during the trial or something like every day to transcribe stuff. Like what 20 or 25 people are transcribing what after each day of the trial? Who Oh, I just saw that about the trolls have 30 or more. Oh,
Also true.
yeah.
No, hey, trial junkie and Christina. No, literally, if I would show you in the backstage of my YouTube StreamYard channel,
Hmm.
no, my YouTube studio channel, I have 450 accounts banned, troll accounts. Truly. Think of that, everyone. 450 accounts had to be banned. That's how many troll accounts have come across here
Wow. Well,
over two
yeah,
and a half years.
exactly. And that's like if there's accounts, well, that was also said. Um, now I don't know, I don't know that I can confirm this necessarily, but I do know in the what was it, those screenshots or whatever from that guy. Who is he? He was like a part of the three. The guy that he closed out the account. Um,
Oh,
with
Tobor
oh boy,
and
that's who I
the
was asking about.
Unraveling
Yeah,
channel. Hmm.
yeah. Like there was. Do you remember there was stuff like I don't know if anybody's ever listened to the Murder Sheet podcast too. That Tobor guy and the Murder Sheet had put out that there were screenshots that said that certain other YouTubers have or said that they, I guess, in this message that they make fake accounts, and then we're also talking about how easy it is to make these and to make up like a new identity or something. I'll have to go back and listen to exactly what it was, but so that's not surprising. And if those messages
Yeah,
are
I'm
accurate.
pretty sure
Hmm.
some individuals will have like 15, 20 accounts.
Oh.
multiple devices at once. So when they come in, I've noticed before, there'll be individuals with multiple devices from multiple accounts, like a single account on each device, and they
Hmm.
can come in and have a conversation with themselves, but it will look like two or three people. That's the whole
Right.
astroturfing strategy that they use. But
Yeah.
yeah, no, literally, I think we're looking at an easy 50 individuals
Hmm.
with at least 100 or more accounts. And that's the funny thing, to block 450 and there's still new ones all the time, just continuously coming. And these are not, that's the thing, these are not people who are random YouTube viewers who just happen to come across and say something crazy in your chat.
Right.
These are long timer YouTube. These are people with personal ties. They come in with personal vendettas and personal narrative points to push, and personal, they come in distracting, and it's very interesting. I mean, I don't like it, but
Right.
it's to see the enormity of it. Over
Well,
what? Over
yeah.
what?
I think a lot of people would be surprised to know how connected these people are behind the scenes, and how connected they were before, they appear to be connected. Um, what was, what I find most concerning is that the well, I will tell people there are right now multiple websites that have been created in advance, which was also done with the GitHub. That's exactly what was done, so that I guess as a backup. But there are about, what, three or four more backups, I know for a fact, websites. And also the GitHub, well, it was created 2 days after the other one, the Rick Allen Justice one. It was on November 11th. The GitHub other one, it was created on November 13th by DB. Um, and it was not we didn't hear about it for how long? Uh, the other one, whenever the other website went to shit, they moved away from that one, and then the new GitHub came out. Okay, I mean, I have my questions about DB. He's, I know there's the jokes about, he works at Chipotle. I get it, but he's way more advanced than anything that anybody realizes.
Well, there's
He,
a lot of computer programmers in this whole case, which I keep saying over and over. Like,
hmm.
people, there's just been too much.
Well, the with the things being said, like the All Eyes with her GitHub, like she's not doing that website, just so people know. So she is not. Okay, she's not. There's other DBs doing that website 100%, which, I mean, it was already said anyway that he was helping her or something, but he's doing it all. He's doing it all. Um,
Or a
yeah,
bunch. I don't know, maybe it's a large effort. It's a
it,
large effort. And
yeah.
and I've been well, I guess I'm kind of, I'll save that for later, but this is
The,
I've been trying to understand the cuz you have so many accounts
mm-hmm.
that are completely anonymous that have inserted themselves to such a high degree, you know.
Yes. That,
And it's like, the
it's
point is
allowed.
not doxing, but the
Mm-hmm.
point is when you have done so much interfering and expect people to believe and trust, there comes a point where it's like, okay, this is enough. There's too, like, the whole I'm just an anonymous person on the internet. It stops working. Okay, it stops working because, like, okay, you haven't really dis what do you call it, doxed yourself or anything,
Oh
but
yeah.
you're clearly a person.
Mm-hmm.
I come out and I put myself in the harm's way. Okay, like I mentioned Adrian earlier, she came out, put herself in harm's way. uh, there are a whole bunch of people that do, but then you have just as many people who are completely anonymous
Mm-hmm.
and completely up to their eyebrows in this. And I don't know, it's highly questionable it becomes highly questionable to me, you know.
Yeah. I mean, exactly. It's very interesting that there's people out there who are very, like you said, very in deep with this. That you you can't. I mean, not that somebody has to show their face or give out their information, but the thing is like it's it's just very weird to me. It's very weird to me that certain people. I mean, I don't even know how to explain it. They're like, I think you explained it best, but it's
Well, I mean, I feel like there are even people who do show their faces,
right.
but still you don't know anything about them, and they've wiped their internet histories clean. Like the
Yeah, that's not.
number of people who you try to go and figure out who is this,
Mm-hmm.
completely wiped. I don't think people realize, like, they try to make it just like everything. If you bring up a point, they try to make it about another point. But for me, the point is, hold on. Fuck that you've been in Delphi for 5 years or 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
The point is, you're an anonymous fucking account on the internet. You're
Right.
just an anonymous account on the internet, and you're absolutely knee deep in this case, interfering and colluding with people who you would assume do know who your identity, and it just becomes really sus.
Mm-hmm.
It's like there comes a time when you're just, you look at Andy Baldwin, he's Andrew Baldwin,
Yeah.
and something about him. You look at, like I don't know, you know anyone who's involved in this to a certain degree,
Yeah.
there's some credibility that goes with that. But
Mm-hmm.
if you look at any topic, what the fuck does an anonymous account, what kind of credibility does any anonymous account have to do with? Even if it's anonymous person that shows their face, but you still don't know who the fuck this is. They could be pretending to be, like, I don't know, Prime Minister of France or something. And it's like, well, I guess I'll take your word for it.
Right. And a lot of that, a lot of those, especially those particular people, have, for some reason, a lot of leeway in these live chats to bully, to instigate, and it's allowed. It's allowed, and nobody can ask questions. Um, because I mean, like, hell, that's even what happened to me recently. I'm just asking questions, about things that were said in a live chat. Um, and that kind of stuff is allowed. And then you were also threatened through me to you. And that's one of the things that I don't think a lot of people understand or have paid attention to is why the violence from certain people in this case. It's like I mean, I was shocked that that was allowed. I'm not saying anything about the YouTube creator or anything like, or the channel. What I mean is just the person in the chat. There was nothing said, and for no reason at all. It was a threat to you through me. I was told to tell you, that somebody wanted to fight you. Like, I'm like, what the hell does that have to do with me? And furthermore, why does somebody want to get physical? Like, why would somebody make a physical threat? This is a case about two kids who were literally
And there's
murdered.
been, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
the venom in this community, and that's what I mean about the culture of fear. Because, like, for us to receive death threats, I've got at least 15 direct death threats. I get shit to my house.
Mm-hmm.
My relatives get contacted, and
Yeah.
Adrian's gotten shit to her house. Death threats, like you say, threats of physical violence. Just it goes on. The list is on and on and on. What's with the venom in this
Yeah.
community?
I've seen your family put on Twitter, and I don't understand why anybody's taking this real life, and why people in the community are not holding them accountable. And I don't mean going and scolding them. What I mean is, like, is to continue to support people who are doing this to other people, in a case of two kids whose necks were cut and they were left out in the woods. Okay, why is that acceptable in a case? Because there's a slight difference of opinion with someone else. It's like we all still have the same goal.
Slight, like for instance, we all agree that this was a miscarriage of justice. Okay.
100%.
Well, no, we're not talking about the troll farm. That's a whole other. That's the obvious haters and
Right.
opposition.
Yeah, I'm not
But I'm
even
saying,
familiar
okay,
with
for
them.
those of
Yeah.
us on this side, we all agree this is a miscarriage of justice.
Yes.
It's a wrongful conviction. Um,
Uh,
it
it,
it should not stand.
rights were violated. Like,
So, and the judge and the prosecutor and all the colluding, and it was all just terrible. Why can't that be enough? You
that's the
know,
thing. It is for normal people. It is. It is normal. That's the thing. Whenever you have, multiple, like, these alt accounts that come out, it that I believe that's, if I remember correctly, that's what the astroturfing is. Astroturfing is, it's meant to make things look like it's homegrown, like it's regular people, like it's a bunch of
Mhm.
regular YouTubers that are coming together, but it's not. So it takes over YouTube chats or lives or Twitters or Reddits, and it appears, to the average person, that there's a lot of support for this one way,
Mhm.
and that's not normal. It's not. So the doxing, putting your family's pictures out, none of that matters. Like, I don't get it, and especially with the stuff going on lately, even with this whole stuff going on with the Charlie, that should be an eye opener to people. This is what happens whenever you have people who want to silence other people.
Mhm.
Like, we we all have more in common than we don't. And we definitely know that we all agree that so many things happened wrong in this case. Eh,
Everything, yeah.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
that's what just like I can't get is why would you ostracize people who are on your side? It's the same thing with the politics of saying I don't want any Trump supporters anywhere around here. Uh,
right, right.
I
Has
wouldn't
not
say
been
it
said.
the other way.
Hmm.
That's why I'm doing this live tonight. It's like I think we need to talk more, and we need more people to come in, and but not less.
Right. And that's the thing. A lot of people, they're questioning, why are they, why would people be doing this? What is going on? The thing is that people have to recognize this is a very coordinated uh, thing. I don't even really know what to call it. It's very coordinated, and the purpose is to create chaos. The reason is because if you have chaos amongst the supporters, you do not have a united front that can have a loud enough voice for change to happen. They do not want this to be some free care and read movement. And I know that people see that they're bringing in the free care and read people. It
That
doesn't matter. You
mhm.
cannot get them people together whenever there is chaos amongst all the people. That's like gaslighting people basically by uh, just, wanting one thing when the goal is not really that. Because you cannot get people together. It doesn't matter how many people come in. You cannot get people together whenever there's chaos. And that's what's going on right now in this case.
Well, that's why, and yeah, that's what I started saying, like how
Mhm.
it's really, it's really, I hate to use the word sad, but unfortunate is a gentle version of it, maybe. It's
Right,
really unfortunate that people have sort of dropped off because what they interpret as drama
right.
came. But what they don't understand is that this what you're interpreting as drama is the result of a demand for truth. And because
Mhm.
it's very important to have truth. Like I've repeatedly said, this case is difficult enough. Really is.
Yeah.
There's so much to this. If you don't have truth and transparency and honesty and forthrightness, you can't come in complicating it. And it just seems like that's what's happened. And so
Yeah.
I feel like if I look back, even at the past 6 months, but honestly, in the past 3 years, it's I haven't lied to the people. I never came and gave you disinformation intentionally. Uh, I don't understand. Like I thought. See, I knew at the time in March, I knew that there would be repercussions because I knew that people would not be able to understand. But I thought it was the best course because I thought no one else is going to do it. So I have to tell the truth about what this is so that everyone understands. Uh, I just didn't foresee, I guess, the way it would happen, you know. But I mean, like I said you can go and look back. I was I was right about everything.
Mhm.
And the way you know that is that because of the demand for the truth, it eventually started to drip out,
Oh, yeah. Oh, God. Yeah, I know. And,
confirming what I was saying.
right. And, the whole, there's one particular deleted live that will never see the light of day again. If, unless it's at the hands of someone else. But that was very telling, and where you have the people behind this website at that time who, because of your, demands for the truth to come out about this stuff, that during that particular live where, Cat, it was it was, you know the one I'm talking about? It was the one with where Kathy Allen was, they were
Oh yeah.
saying that
Hmm. Hmm.
she needed to, like, I don't know, somebody else needed to be, I know there was a lot of
She
backlash for,
doesn't deserve to be making legal decisions for her husband live.
right, that she wasn't in like the right state of mind or some BS, like as his wife, whatever. That was deleted. I mean, that should be a sign to people. That stuff was deleted because this is the mindset of these the people who are behind this. And during that live, it was the people were lied to right throughout that live. And then you have, I think it was Luke coming there, and he starts commenting or whatever, and then you have someone else say, "Oh, are we going to tell all the things?" And immediately the sentence before that was like, "I don't know why people can't just believe what we're saying," or something like that. And I'm not even kidding. I think it was the next sentence was, "Oh, are we just going to tell all the things?" And then all of a sudden, you hear why people don't believe the things that you're saying. And all of that's deleted. But
Yeah, and you know what's
that was
funny
said.
about that?
Uh-huh.
I told someone recently that Mr. Baldwin refuses to answer a single question about it. It's just like, why, man? Why? Like
Yeah.
this has been, I don't know. I don't even want to keep going this direction, but it's just that there's so many things along the course of this that could have put everything to rest.
Mhm.
And it seems like everyone important in the mix that could have put concerns to rest have failed to do so. But this
Well,
goes all the way back to
yeah.
like 3 years, because I mentioned just earlier that people are being marched out right now to do narrative spin on the
Mhm.
leaks.
Mhm.
Okay, so if we go all the way back to the leaks, it's the same thing.
Yeah,
There
it's the
are
same people
people who
peddling.
could tell the truth
Mhm.
to put the entire story straight, but every single one of them refuse to tell the truth to put
Yeah.
the questions to rest. But instead, they're going to march out someone who was intimately involved in all of it to come and spin.
Right. And I think that's what a lot of, I think that's where, because my thoughts on that are a little bit different. I mean, I don't disagree with what you're saying necessarily, but my thinking is, is this is where the PR spin stuff comes in. And this is where the things that are being said are meant to discredit the people who so far, I mean, in my opinion, Baldwin, all of them, so far they haven't really give me any reason to doubt them. I do have questions about some of their tactics that I would like answered also, but I think a lot of the questions about things come from the things that's been out there of people claiming that they were working with the defense. The way I look at it is nothing is a fact or can be taken as the truth unless we hear it from the source, which would be Baldwin, Rosie. And
Mhm.
I agree, they should or they could come out. But that's the thing. It's it could. I mean, it really could be their career on the line. Like
It could also hurt them. Yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
yeah. And I think this is
Which
meant to
still
make it
leads back to the fact that these people have also created problems for Baldwin,
exactly. Yeah,
but
I think
also for Abby and Libby, and also for Richard Allen. And
right.
it's been just a non it's been a revolving door of complication, chaos, lies, and bullshit. And people don't want to see it. And I understand why, because you look at it like, oh, these are, like I said, it's easy to hate the trolls, the troll farm trolls for the prosecution, because they say all the things Murder Sheet says and all the things McClellan says. So it's easy to hate them, but it's hard to see what's happening on your side, because you want a big team. And
It's like a cognitive dissonance almost. It's almost
mhm,
like you can't believe it seems unbelievable, but it's true. You know, and I think that a lot of this is to because if people pay attention, you'll hear this also. Oh, I don't want to, I don't want to trash the defense. I don't want to throw no, no, no. That's what you're doing. That is subtly putting that thought in people's heads. So then what happens is it makes the defense look sloppy. It makes the defense look, um, like it makes it look like they could be in the league. That is not that's bad because normally we wouldn't even hear from an attorney, right? Like we don't you don't really ever hear from them. And we haven't heard from them any at all. So there's some reason, I don't know who was trying to blackmail Baldwin. I don't even know if that's legit. But that right there puts doubt in people's minds. And whenever you have doubts and people don't trust the defense, and then it makes them look like they could be in things, the only people who have lied to us consistently have been all these people on YouTube. As far as I'm concerned, it has not been Baldwin or Rosie. I do have questions, like you said, but the only people that have been consistently consistent, they have their behavior, their actions, the way they conduct themselves has been Baldwin and Rosie. Unlike all the other people that are
and
very well.
Jennifer O'Shea has been,
Oh, and Jennifer,
yeah, solid too.
yes.
Yeah, that group, this is what I've said, like, and I think people don't understand when we ask questions about the defense, we're not
Hmm.
attacking them.
Right,
I
right.
just have the questions, because but it's like with everything with this case, there's so many questions. And
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
well, I guess what I'm thinking is that it just seems as if people stopped asking questions when it came down I mean, if I were really to reverse engineer it, I would say when it came down to Rick Allen, which means when Rick Allen came around
Hmm.
and all the info, people stopped asking questions.
Right.
And I think it's turned a lot of the consumers into mindless eaters because they in their preoccupation with Rick Allen, they stopped looking at everything as objectively as they need to. Um,
Hmm. Right. Exactly. Well, it's it also, if you have certain people out putting out a narrative, it gives credibility that isn't shouldn't be there. So then people blindly follow um, certain, people because of that credibility. So they're not questioning things. They're not wanting to, dig in. But that's what people need to be doing. People need to be turning over tables, you know, stamping the streets over the evidence lost, over the way that Rick Allen was treated, the way that this case was investigated. It Those are the things that need to be talked about, and they do not want people um, making a big deal about that because it makes them look horrible because it's terrible. And
yeah,
they go ahead. No,
that's a
I'm
good
not.
point. Is that the last thing on earth Doug Carter wants
Hmm.
is us discussing like tonight. Like
Right.
that's the last thing on earth they want. That's why they tried to shut all this down. You know.
He did. Remember, that's what he did from day one, and that's all that the public heard was give us time, and then he would, go through his, I don't know, his smoke signals, his whatever, his hieroglyph. I don't know what all it was that he would get up there on the stand and do, or on the podium and do, but all of that mess. We've heard that for years. We heard give us time. We heard if you have a problem, if law enforcement take it out on me or to be upset with me,
Hmm.
they're just doing their job. No, no, no. That is classic controlled opposition. He is trying to soften the what? How do you word that? Like he's trying to soften the public's I don't know, outrage or whatever
Hmm.
on law enforcement. And then we've heard, wait, give us time. And then we heard that at the when Richard Allen before his trial. And then you have this whole different version of Doug Carter come out at what is it, the sentencing?
Boy, that's what still
Oh,
boggles the mind. The post sentencing press conference. He was just unhinged. I
he
couldn't.
was.
And I'm like, does no one see this?
Hmm.
Are there not federal agents who see that? It's. I mean, it's
Right.
so obvious.
Hmm.
Hmm.
And he hightailed it out of office the next month.
Perfect timing. I said
Yep.
that before. This entire thing was absolutely perfect timing.
Right. Exactly. And that's that's what's that's what is so ridiculous is that we were people, a lot of people had a lot of faith in him, but that's because he gets out there with his words, and it's like he wasn't following around a family across the United States and obsessing over this case and the somewhat the Flora case too. And so uh, that's the things I've been asking. What is the obsession with law enforcement in Indiana and the Delphi case and the Flora case? There is a very
Oh, a
weird.
weird obsession. Yeah, it's
Mhm,
creepy.
it is. And like I've said, Robert Ives, whenever he turned in his resignation back right before, what was this, 2017, I think still, he said in an interview that he did not see the Flora case or the Delphi case being solved anytime soon. But if there was an arrest before his resignation, he would rescind it and he would see it through. Okay, that that tells people not only are they connected, I believe, um, but also that something very big was going on that with those cases. He had been there for like 30 some odd years, hadn't he? No, maybe more than that.
It's what are some of those creepy phrases like on my deathbed, or
Oh
like, do you
God.
remember some of them with
Ye-
it's
yes.
like the
Um,
obsession, I mean,
oh my God. Yes. It's on his deathbed. The last thing he'll be thinking of is those girls. And then he tells Chelsea or Kelsey, and you. And then he says, oh gosh, remember, okay. It was in a murder sheet. I don't listen to murder sheet ever, but I have to these interviews with the people, like, the real people on there, like Doug. And okay, he said in there, they asked him something about what he was doing that day. Not only did he say it was Sunday when he first heard about it, which I find a little bit weird, but then they also said what happened, like the day that, the girls, I guess, were found dead. And they asked him how quickly did he get to Delphi, and he said as fast as my charger would get me there. Like, why would the superintendent of the entire state of Indiana haul ass to Delphi? What was the reason? It's this weird
on my
obsession.
deathbed.
Yeah, and then the rocks. They had the rocks or something on there. Who is it? Tobe had the picture of Bridge Guy there. They painted a mural on one thing. Today will be the day. Whenever you go into the police department, they're going. They're interviewing. They're going to CrimeCon. You got Jerry Holman, a couple of the others going to CrimeCon. Why?
For all these years too.
Mhm.
That's the thing. Yeah. Crime con.
Yep, Doug Carter going on that little podcast with Kelsey. What about
Weird.
all the other kids who were murdered?
Yeah.
Aren't they
Even
upset?
on even for Doug to go to Dr. Phil, it's just
Hmm.
been like, you know,
That's been deleted too, hasn't it?
time after time after time after time after time.
Yeah, I'm interested in. Actually, that's one of the statistics or something I need to look into because I don't think that I have is the murders or the deaths of all the other children in Indiana. Why is there not an obsession about
All
any
those
of,
other kids.
yeah, not even one other case? It would be kind of like, okay, whatever, weird, but not even one other. It's just these two. It's if people really pay attention to the very odd things about this case. And that's also one of the things that I've wondered also is, I've mentioned, before in comments and stuff, like, that I felt like maybe there's some sort of like parallel investigation, which would make sense why they're, I
Hmm.
guess, covering up or why things aren't allowed, why there's certain no third party suspects, things like that. But
And then all the weirdness with Kagan Klein is so
mhm,
fucking weird that they would leave him out in the world. Like,
yeah, yeah. He must have been an informant or something, because there was, you know, CSAM or whatever it's called that was on his devices in, I believe it was it February or March whenever his house or whatever it was. I can't remember. I believe it was March, and that stuff was found then in 2017. And also, it's weird. I was reading an article on that guy. That officer, the picture of the like Anthony Shots guy.
mm-hmm.
He said he was never notified that they were even doing that presser or anything and putting his picture out there. He had no idea that his picture was a part of the case for however long. At some point, he talked to them. I mean, I do know that, but I mean, as far as the presser where they come out blasting his picture, he didn't even know they were doing that. And that was how long? When was that? Was that in 2020 or 2019?
I want to say
I can't.
19.
Was it
I
19?
don't.
Was it April 2019? I think it was. I have to remember. It's not a big deal. I just mean They came out with that, and Kegan Glenn was still out on the streets. It's
Yeah,
weird.
this whole thing has been, the oddities are just mind numbing. And then, like, to have all of these people, I've made it explicitly clear. I'm not going to, you know, uh, I'm not going to try to say it in some sort of like sideways manner,
Hmm.
but it's, I, it's, I, it's completely obvious to me that this isn't uh, a massive PR campaign. Like,
It is.
some firm has been hired or two
Yeah.
to send out a bunch of people to keep this but on rails or whatever, in between the fucking lines, or whatever is their objective to push.
Hmm.
And it's all the hallmarks of that. That's the
It
thing,
is.
is as you look at all of these people that you would, and all of these tactics, techniques, you would look at them as, oh, these are individuals, and you start to really look at it all. The simplest conclusion you can come to is there's a collective effort that somebody's paying for.
Yeah.
And the question is why, especially after all of this. Like, this has been sent, the guy has been convicted, he's been sentenced. So
Hmm.
why? Why?
Right. Right. Yeah. It's right. I mean, exactly. There's all of the things that are going on in this case are not normal. Like, even with Free Karen, oh, the whole Free Karen Reed thing, her website was created after her conviction, or excuse me, not her conviction, her hung jury. That was afterward. We've heard lies about the website was created based on the Louis G. Mangione thing and the Karen Reed thing. That, when I brought that up about the Louis G. Mangione thing, that was deleted from Alive completely. And because that website was not created, it's like lies were, I guess, made up after the fact. It was not created um, before, so they couldn't have got inspiration from it because Rick Allen's website was created before. And then whenever I mentioned Louis G. Mangione, that was deleted, and they didn't say that anymore. And then it went to Karen Reed. Karen Reed had not raised $1 million. Her website had only been out. I think it was. I'd have to look exactly again, but it was, hers was created toward like the middle of the year, and I believe it was said that that was the inspiration then, and she had raised $1 million. It's not true. This website was created just a couple of months. It was like a couple of months, I believe, after Karen Reed's was that summer, and it had not even raised 500,000. So that was wrong information. But this is people who were doing this before. You know, it it's and it's people who I do not feel like truly care about Rick Allen. Um, I just don't. I disagree. I don't think that they do, and I believe that it is a lot of other people. I'm not talking about the ones on YouTube. I'm just talking about kind of in the periffs, like who shouldn't. It's making things look like it's a collection of people, and it's not. Kind of the it's people. It's like just the YouTube accounts that nobody really knows. They're just making comments. Those aren't real people. A lot of them aren't. And I believe it's people or
Like, how could I
whoever.
have to block? This is, yeah, it's like, to have to block 450 accounts, and there's still, everyone's still out there. So everyone's still out there, but I had to
Hmm.
block 450 accounts. Like, does that make any sense to anyone that this is a normal double homicide?
No, it's not. All of the things in it that seem kind and generous and good, it's it's an effort, and it is not just by everyday people. It's not. It's
Mm.
oh, it's already been said. It's a I don't know a collection or whatever of people doing transcripts after trial, each day for trial to get them up on the website. Who who does that? Like, if they're not getting paid, you know. Well, I know a lot of people would, but it's it is just people just really need to pay attention. That's the issue. There's something bigger that's going on behind the scenes.
Yeah, that's your conclusion. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, well, for what I want to say, I think right now, yeah.
Yeah.
But I agree with you 100%. It's some kind of PR, whatever. There's a ton of other things that I could say, but I don't want to just yet. But I don't want to be cryptic. I just want to have my ducks in a row before I say certain things. But yeah, my main thing is for people to pay attention and they can see this themselves, because I did. I think since what, maybe May.
Yeah, that's a good point, that cuz no one can really tell you. This is where I'm at. It's like I'm not really trying to push any sort of
Right.
thing here. I'm trying to explain to people you wanted the truth about Delphi. That's why you come and you watch channels about
Hmm.
Delphi. Well, hello, this is the truth about Delphi. It's the most you're going to get at this point on the open internet. I mean, unless you know one of the killers.
Right. Right. And it's it's the things that are put out there give the appearance that there are individuals who have a relationship with the defense, and they do not. If something is not said out of the words of the appellate attorneys or Rick's trial defense attorneys, it is not the truth. And there's a lot of things that we hear that we are told were from Baldwin, or that things are would appear that they have knowledge, intimate, knowledge about specific things within the case that are out there right now. That's not true. It's a lie based on what you said earlier about, what was it? Something about like $2,000 or something from the the fundraiser money or something like that. That's Those are different things that are put out there, like uh things like that. Unless you hear it from his attorneys, don't take it for a fact. And I think that that's kind of an issue. That's an issue for me, and I hope that people see that, because I'm like you. I don't go in comments or anything and try to be ugly or try to demand somebody or anybody believe anything I have to say. What I always try to encourage is for people to pay attention to the things they're seeing. If things seem too good to be true, they are, and to question things and not to feel silenced, because I feel like a lot of people have been silenced. They're not able to talk, or else they get attacked, or they get, you then become a target, and that's not what normal adults do.
Yeah, where are the adult conversations?
Hmm.
Right.
But that's what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to. I mean, you learn so much from people that you disagree with, and imagine not having. I'm not trying to be offensive, but imagine not having the emotional intelligence to be able to have an adult conversation with somebody who has a very slightly different opinion than you.
Very slightly. And that's the thing that I've always, with the entire of them, you
Hmm.
know, it's like, why every time a point is made
Yeah.
or something is brought forward, why does it always resort to personal attacks? Like,
Right.
never really the issue, just straight up personal attacks.
Yeah.
Uh,
Literally called names. I guess threatened at times.
mm-hmm.
Right. That's not how normal. healthy, sound adults conduct their lives, like not lives, like in YouTube lives. I mean, in real life, that's not what people do. So the fact that that's happening in this case, where there are kids who were killed, and then adults act as if they have no tolerance for somebody asking a question. Um, and I think that statement's been made before that people are asking questions that they already have the answers to. No, no, no. We don't have any answers because hearing things from people who say they have contact with the defense is not answers,
That's not
and
an
it's not a
answer.
fact.
No.
Right. Exactly. And Baldwin's been out, and he's been out. I don't know if people are paying attention. He has never confirmed his um, connection with anybody who has said anything here on YouTube. He even went on um, uh, Andy Cobbs's live. He literally, all he said was, "I heard the transcripts are starting to come out." That is not confirmation that he did anything with anybody. So that should tell people a lot. Why was he not singing these people's praises for the great things that they've done for him if he had a relationship with them? If he had given them the go ahead, or if he had given them permission to do anything? People just pay attention, because what they're not saying, or what he's not saying, says a lot.
Yeah. And I guess the funny thing is, I don't know if people think that everything on the surface is all that is. It's like, I'm not gonna tell you everybody I'm talking to. I'm not gonna. Do you honest? Does everyone in the sound of my voice actually believe that I'm gonna come out here and tell you everyone I'm talking to?
Right.
I guarantee you I'm not, because there are people I'm talking to and have talked to who help inform me so that I can build an accurate perspective and stand on something. And so I don't have the need to tell you who I'm talking to. But if I come out assertive and confident in what I'm saying, because I know the facts, it might be because I'm talking to a handful of people that would have knowledge. And so I think that's something people need to keep in mind too. When, like, I think you have a good point that people need to see for themselves, because, like,
Right.
you would not believe it unless you would see it for yourself. And that's my message to everybody, I guess, is yeah, just try to see. Well, you said it best, I guess. Try to see for yourself.
Right. Exactly. And there's I know that there's a lot of people who um, know things, or they want to share things, and they feel like they can't, and then a lot of people, you know it's I know that there's other, I see people's comments and stuff, and a lot of people have some really a lot of things, that are interesting, and I it's unfortunate that people don't feel comfortable to share a lot of these things, especially publicly, which, like you said, if there's people that you talk to that, that communicate things, I'm sure a lot of that has to do with uh, concern for being attacked, if they were known, and two, and I just kind of wanted to put out there, I know I had somebody ask me about, I don't know if they're listening, but I had somebody ask me about would I be interested in talking, and I think I just want to make it clear that if anybody that has any kind of communication with Michael Osbrook, I do not want to talk to. I just kind of want to make that clear. So, because I don't, and I don't have any, I'm not trying to say anything bad about Michael Osbrook. I just, I don't, I don't trust him. And I know a lot of people do, and that's okay. But I don't. So anyway, but that's kind of beside the point. But and because I want people to know this stuff like that. But it's important to do your homework before you just go, not you, but anybody go just blasting stuff. So that's the only reason I haven't just come around. Plus, I don't have a big channel. I don't. I mean, I'm not a YouTuber, But there's a ton of stuff that might help open people's eyes. But I think I think the best thing to do is to, and the same like you do, to do your homework first and get your ducks in a row before. And that's how I feel like I need to do before I
Hmm.
show it to anybody, or until I don't know, because I'm not a real YouTuber. I've only made a few videos, and I would like to do more, but I'm not really good at it. So, but yeah, so hopefully more people will see things, and I hope that more people will become more open to working together, because that is the only way to get eyes on this case and to get, hopefully, Rick Allen the help that he needs, and also find the people or the person or persons who actually committed this crime. It is imperative to work together and not hate each other, and not, make people the enemy if they don't think that Rick Allen is innocent 100% across the board. That doesn't matter. We all kind of have the same goal, I believe. So,
Well, all I've seen is,
yeah.
yeah, yeah, exactly.
You've seen what now?
I don't know, just like limiting
Hmm.
or ostracizing or shrinking the community and causing chaos. How does that make sense? Like
Yeah,
we're
that's
supposed to
goal.
be like, if you believe in this, you you try to be forthright, as honest as possible. Don't lie. Don't do shady ass shit behind the scenes,
Hmm.
and then gather as many people as you can together. Um,
Exactly. Yeah, you don't have to have, you just have to have the same common goal. You know, it nobody. I mean, nobody has the same uh, opinions and beliefs and as everybody else. And you know what? Like, we all manage in our real lives to get along with other people. We don't have to know their opinions and beliefs on absolutely everything.
every
Because,
single thing. Yeah.
right. And the same with this one. It's like we can feel differently about a lot of different things, but we could still recognize that this is a really fucked up case. And Rick Allen has got the blunt, or I mean, he's got the short end of the stick. I feel really bad about him. I get really sad if I even kind of go there. I feel bad for what's been done, and it upsets me that people, that people don't see that if we are not calling out law enforcement, if we're not calling out all of the things that happen, these things that they did are wrong, and they should have been reprimanded, or there should have been consequences, repercussions. There should have been something happen. And instead, we see people getting promotions, going to crime con. There should be outrage about those things.
I mean, I just keep coming back to there should be outrage on anybody in their right mind.
Hmm.
Watch that post sentencing press conference.
Right.
They should have all walked away with outrage
Hmm.
and saying, "What in the world is going on with the Delphi case?"
Yeah.
And
Exactly.
I'm like, "What feds? Excuse me, feds.
Hmm. Yeah.
Feds, are you watching?"
Yeah, I know. That's the thing though. Like, the only way that things like this will there's a change is if there is public outcry or public outrage over these things. And right now, sure, there's like a little community here on YouTube, and but you don't you're not hearing about people blasting, just angry about this man marched around on a leash, uh, the torture and the abuse. You're not hearing that because there is not a big enough community that can come together. It is these like community, it's one community that's broken apart, that's at odds with each other. But I don't have odds with anybody. It's just that's what they want, and I don't. I hope people see whenever they see these kind of things, and and they see these kind of behaviors, and the thing they have to be able to recognize it. And you or I or anybody, we can't force them to see it, and have
No,
to kind of come to that realization on your own.
and I'm sure your appearance tonight, which I'm really grateful for that people get to know you, but I'm sure um, it's gonna engender you and me a lot of harassment and bitching. But
Yeah,
I don't know. You said what you spoke your mind and said what's on your mind,
yeah.
and
There's, I would, yeah.
this
There's a
is what
lot
I
to get.
want is more people from our little chat
Hmm.
community and viewership and even strangers. You know how many times, honestly, Christina, I've opened the door just like this link is still posted at the top of the chat
Hmm.
at least 15 times in the past 2 years. I've opened the door for people to come in, any side,
Right.
anybody, and come and talk civilly. And no one ever does. Very few, Jake Brooks will come and poor
Yeah.
Cosmo used to come. You've come
Yeah.
now. But very few ever come talk. And I just want more to come.
I wish some of them would come back, which I know that Cosmo passed, and but I remember Jake Brooks. I really enjoyed hearing him talk. I really liked hearing him talk. There's a few that that I wish would come back because or to be on to talk or whatever. That I thought they had really good like input, and yeah, hopefully other people will speak out speak out more and start to see a little bit of what's going on and hopefully still be able to be one hopefully one united. I'm not talking, not everybody doesn't have to be besties, but just still have one common goal and not to let us be divided. And I hope that more people are willing to speak out and to, I guess, share their thoughts and opinions. But I just can't.
Awesome.
I just came on to say hi because I would have. It's been a long time ago that I said I would have, but I don't know if you've done a live since then. So I just figured,
I haven't been doing many, but
yeah,
thank you so much, Christina.
yeah, no problem. Um, I'll get going for now, and then I'll just thanks for letting me come on, and
All right. Thanks for
I'll
coming. And
see
everyone
y'all
say
later.
thank you, please.
Thanks, Prof.
And come
Bye.
back. Okay. Bye bye.
Bye.
Okay. And there she goes. That's Christina, everybody. I'm grateful that she chose to click the link and come and talk. That was good that we had this opportunity. And please, next time, think about coming on, everybody. That goes for anyone in the chat, anyone in the viewing audience, anyone on the replay. Maybe you'll catch it live and be able to come on. I am absolutely exhausted, so I'm going to get going. Um, but I appreciate you coming and watching, and please do leave a comment down below if you're on the replay and hit the like button and all that stuff. Um, so, you've gotten to hear from Christina. Um, does she sound like a wild conspiracy theorist? Not to me. And so hopefully you'll think about some of that and her advice to think for yourself and just look at things twice. Please, if you're on the replay, leave the comments down below. Check out our support pathways. I got the old GoFundMe that I'm trying to get to our goal. So please go support the GoFundMe. If you'd like to send me a tip at the Cash App, buy me a coffee, super chat, super thanks, whatever you want. We do appreciate all the support. I have a link tree with all of the various places that you can investigate, because I have a Substack. So that's the two things I didn't want to forget is to remind you I have a GoFundMe running, and I have a Substack over at Substack. Read the Prof at Substack, where I put things up. Okay, and I'm working on the next stuff. So I know it's been a few days since I had one up, but I'm working on the next one. Um, so hopefully I'll see you all soon. God bless. Hug your kids, hug your wife. Take care of yourselves. And with all the chaos going on, try to get some peace of mind. Put the phones down and the Twitters down and all of that and rest. Go outside, do nice things, treat yourself to something nice, and get some rest. That's what I've been doing. You got to recharge the batteries at times, and hopefully that's what we'll be doing. A special shout out to the super chatters tonight and to Dirty Diana, who gifted 5 memberships. So I saw you guys receive some memberships. So thanks for the gifted memberships. Uh, Diana, thanks Ninja Warrior Assassin, Rebecca Ann, David Rogers, Jamie Boyd for the super chats. Truly do appreciate the support in that way. And special thanks to Christina for coming on and everybody in the chat for holding it down. Okay, appreciate that. So, this was our Meet the Community open lines, and I'll probably put her name up there, Christina. And everyone else, we'll see you next time. Peace out.